Milsim days of PSYOP, compliance will be rewarded.
Oh my God.
It took me till the end of the game to realize that you were Dookie Shoes.
On the field, in the app, there's 3 buttons. You push that, it goes to stats, and then you hit leave game. Otherwise, we can see you go to eat Chili's or hang out.
Or how far you have to go on 84 to get home.
Yep.
We can see you if you go to Europe, okay?
Yeah, like it's...
Yeah, I'm realizing the reason why the time's off on that computer is because I haven't changed the date and time settings on that computer in like 6 years.
Oh, I was expecting an Iceland story.
Yeah.
No.
Did you realize that your Fragos got taken at any point?
I got him back.
They were like, oh, I found this envelope. And I was like, you're not supposed to have.
Oh, yeah.
So
I noticed.
Did the envelope say ref cheat sheet on it?
No.
That's the one that I found.
It was my Frago.
So that.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Zulu 24 podcast. And as always, I'm joined by Anthony from Mantech Airsoft Studios and Jordan from Zulu Outdoor. Today, we have a couple special guests. We have Dylan. He's one of our staff here at Zulu 24. He helped put on the Milsim Day. And also Bryan, who was the red team commander that day?
One of them.
Red Arm?
One of them.
Yeah. And today, we're going to be talking about our Milsim Day. We just had that last Saturday. So we're going to go through it.
First, I have a very huge announcement for us. This is big. Okay, we made it, boys. So RGK put out the awards post for this year.
Oh, snap.
He put the categories.
It's only June.
Yeah, it's gonna all happen like during the fall, but he put it out right now for best US based airsoft podcast. The requirements are 1 podcast per month minimum.
Oh, we're killing that.
We did that. Oh, minimum 30-minute long episode.
Killing that.
Oh, 1 episode without any special guest per month.
Killing it.
We made it, boys. We're a podcast.
That's it.
Joe Rogan is not a podcast.
No, he's not a podcast.
We're a podcast.
We're a podcast. Some would say the best podcast. Joe Rogan isn't a podcast.
Maybe the best podcast. They used to say nasty things about us. They're fake news.
Oh, well, that's awesome. We're a podcast now.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Cool. Fantastic. So Dylan and Jordan, you guys actually put this thing together. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Where do we start with that? Well, we had this idea after the anniversary game where there were so many players that we ended up only running 2 games during the anniversary, 2 or 3?
Yeah, 3.
3? Yeah. So basically giving the players a format where in the beginning of the day would be normal open play from 9 to 1-ish, and then once we come back from our lunch break, just do 1 long continuous game after the lunch break that runs until we close, but making it a little bit more complicated, trying to bridge the gap between normal open play and Crossroads and Blood Diamond. So that was the goal of the day, and then we just kind of ran with that idea because originally we'd come up with Conquest, and then you would put the idea out of doing Advanced and Secure, which is more squad based, where you have to capture the objectives in each individual order. Obviously, for each team, it's reversed. Dylan, do you want to add anything to that?
No, not really.
You got to talk into the mic, bud.
No, not really. No.
Every time Jordan says something, Dylan's like, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, it was a collaborative effort. We started planning it once we picked a date for it, and we already had a bunch of ideas that we were going to run with. But
dude, Dylan sent me this document.
There's a lot.
I was like, brother, this is an op. You just wrote an entire. You wrote 3 ops. There's 3 ops worth of shit here. Figure something out. It's pretty impressive, man. I think you guys did a great job with it.
Thank you.
It was fun.
Yeah, because you didn't know anything about it going into it.
I had
kept you
inside
in
baseball knowledge. The only thing I knew was the format.
Yeah.
The advance and secure. Yeah. I didn't know any of the fragos. I didn't know how this is all going to play out. I didn't know anything actually.
So let me ask you a question. What was your design philosophy for the day? What were you trying to accomplish, and what were you afraid that could happen?
Oh, well, number one, afraid, because somebody asked me that at 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. They're like, what's worst case scenario today? And it was everyone completely disregards everything we did, and it turns into shitball. That's worst case scenario. Best case scenario is we have about 130 players. We walk off the field with 130 players.
That's a pipe dream, buddy.
Yeah, that's best case scenario. Yeah. Happy middle is that everyone does all of the objectives. They actually think they're pretty dope and have a fun time, and we end with about 50% of the players that we started with.
You know how many pep talks we gave?
Oh,
during the
probably
game?
all
like,
of them.
Like, you can't walk off now.
Oh, yeah.
But
Anthony
Like,
and I were-
one more push. One more push.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be on at the end of the day. They won't.
yeah.
At the like right around 20 minutes before the game ended, I packed up my box, right? I drag it down the hill and I set it right by the exit, like where people are going to walk off and people are coming out. I'm like, dude, come on, 20 minutes? You're going to walk off now? Like,
right,
you know?
Yeah.
Some people are just like, no, I'm done. And I
But
was like, that's your call, bud.
With like actually designing the day, it was once we settled on the advanced and secure format, picking the objectives, because originally there was only going to be 5. Then
Yeah.
we went to 7, and then we were like, okay, maybe we make it 9. Once we settled on 9, then it was picking the fragos themselves, because we kind of figured if we could actually start at 1:30, which is again a pipe dream, we're like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, there can be a mission. And then it was, okay, well, let's make it so that they actually have to traverse around the rest of the field besides those areas where there's an objective. So we picked like the 2 o'clock one's going to be in this area. The 3 o'clock one will be over here. And just like making it so that if you were going to play the side missions, those would have to take you to a different part of the field than what the flags were at.
Which is good, right? Because
Yeah.
you can make the assumption that most of the fighting is going to happen on the previous flag, the middle flag, and the next flag
Yeah.
after that, right? So if you kind of create a frago that's like way the fuck over here,
Yeah.
now that frago A has more likelihood to be completed. B, it's a cool little side quest, man, where they're not trying to battle through
Yeah.
75 opposing players to get something done.
Because
So-
like the central flag was building 34 in CQB. It's the gas station with the Jeep out front. The 3 o'clock mission was to go all the way behind the trenches in African.
Yeah.
And look for the flight recorder.
Yeah.
So it's like, even if at that point, because by 3 o'clock you guys were fighting over building 34, if you guys wanted to go and do that side quest, it was taking you to the complete opposite side of the field, but it netted you points, because that was the thing too. Once we threw out that there were going to be props in the mix, and now we were separating teams' respawns from their HQs, once we gave the ability for you to steal props from each other, now it's like, oh, hey, those also have a tangible value to them, but that value doesn't come into play till 6 o'clock.
Yeah, it was. My hopes were dashed because ideally I was hoping, no, not to jump too far ahead, right? But with the frags, kind of, I figured they were going to be like, oh, we're going to be fighting here. It's going to be like in the back corner, like during
Yeah.
Mike Shack, something like that. I was kind of banking on all of the open day players kind of just wanting to gravitate towards the fight. Right.
Yeah.
And then the guys that showed up that like wanted to do the Milsim, I would be able to say, hey, go over here.
Yeah.
What I didn't account for was the staggering amount of people that were like, yeah, we're on board. Turn off the radio.
Oh. Oh.
Like, no kidding.
That's
It was
Looking you
it
right
was-
in the face.
It was,
Yeah, this is great.
yeah, great plan. Like we you'll see, like we circled up like in, at the respawn, and I'm like, all right, squads 1, 2, this is your mission. 3, 4, go over here, 5, 5, 6, and everybody's like, you got it, boss. 15, 20 minutes in there, I'm like, squad 7. Squad 7.
I can see you on the map.
I start typing them private messages and like nobody's answering,
Oh man.
So it was, but anyway, like it wasn't quite the, as you said, the shitball, but it was, I had 3 squads that actually used their radios,
Yeah, nice.
2 that I could get whenever I called them. And that was my entire day was like looking at the map, seeing where people were, and then trying to use 3 squads to get done stuff. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, a lot of times I had to put them where the fighting was because those guys were just getting pushed all around.
Yeah, because that was also another thing that I don't know if Dylan had to do this, but I had to come to terms with. We could write the best game ever, and we can make the most fledged out ideas. If the players immediately go, oh, that's cool, we're just here to play Airsoft, like we're just dead in the water. Like you can't force them to play the objective.
That happened on some of the objectives that we even wrote out for this game.
And that's bound to happen. I mean, it's not an op.
Yes.
A lot
Yeah,
of
it's an
people,
open play.
A lot of people probably didn't even know it was like a Milsim day. So
So
we're just here for open play anyway.
I will tell you, I only had like 2 people that asked me during the day. They're like, I didn't know this was happening. Like everybody seemed to know. Even some of the rental players that were here were like, yeah, we saw it at your Milsim day. This sounds super cool. I mean, not to jump too far ahead, that one dude at the end of the day is like, this was my first time playing Airsoft.
Yeah.
And he was walking off the field at 6 o'clock.
He stayed on till the end.
Yeah.
That guy was made of something different.
Yeah. Yes, he was. Goddamn steel.
Yeah.
I lucked out, man. Each one of my squad leaders all had each one of my squad leaders had a radio except for one, and then he appointed an RTO. So I had communication with my squads for the most part all day. I had a couple, maybe 3 or 4 squad leaders that were fucking shit hot. Every time I called them, they were ready, willing, and eager. And I'll demonstrate that when we start this up. But the coordination from my complete 180 from Crossroads, it was amazing. I could not believe that they did everything, because I was waiting. I was trying to play that whole game from my CP, and due to some factors in which we'll talk about, it's impossible. So
yeah, the squad I was in particular, I noticed my squad leader, he was on that radio. Before he made any move, he was reaching out to you to be like, Commander, what are we doing? And wherever he went, everybody else in the squad went. And it wasn't the most stacked fire team. A lot of these guys were very new to Airsoft, but it didn't really matter because they stuck together, Yeah. So when they all went in one spot, and it was we were taking areas. So.
You get 12 guys, regardless of skill, you get 12 guys all pointing their guns in the same direction.
Yeah.
You are tenfold better than one guy who's played Airsoft for 40 years and is a special forces, and you're going to kill him every time.
Right. That's exactly what I was saying last time. I'd rather have a group of guys that are highly motivated than the guys that are
I know what I'm doing.
I got the gear. I'm good. I've been doing this forever.
Our squad,
made by cry.
Our inner squad comms sucked. Somebody was hot micing the whole time. I kept turning my radio off because it was just unbearable. But the verbal communication was I can tell my squad was a group of friends that came together.
Yeah.
So they had that they were calling out to each other yo, over there in that building, and it was all right, cool. We were getting stuff done. I was the bad one. I was the one that separated from my squad the most because I was adopting orphaned players who lost their squad, or their squad leader didn't have a radio. So I ended up completely separating from my squad when they went back at one point, because I adopted new children. And I just really wanted them to not walk off the field. And I was just stay with me. We're gonna do cool stuff.
Yeah. That's one thing that I think we need to change for next time is did we have the capability to make squad leaders be able to choose a different color for their squads?
So we didn't this time.
Yeah, I think
next time we will.
We will, because now those orphaned guys can look on their map and not only see our team, but they can see our squad's over there. Because each squad can have a different color for their squad. That way, every member of that squad will just, in this case, we'll say is green, and they know that, hey, all our green guys are over this way. So it's just another layer of getting the players used to working as a team, because my theory with radios, with comms, right? Squad leaders should always have comms, some way to talk to command. Everybody else in the radio, or everybody else in the squad, throw your radios into the lake, because you're never going to be farther away or far enough away from your squad leader, ideally, that you're going to need one.
Unless you're unless you're going to do an RTO type role, and you're going to be backup comms with command for your squad leader, as long as you're not being a chaos gremlin with that channel frequency.
Yeah.
So my take is, I think I'd rather take it one step further, right? Let your team leads also, right? Because maybe not in this game, but there have been games before in the past where we would basically fire and maneuver as a squad.
Yeah.
And of course, you might have your fire team going another 50, 80 yards up to try to either be the hammer or the anvil. In that case, I could see justification for inside squad comms, but I mean,
I think on a large scale,
we want to get them to work together as whole squads, and not necessarily as fire teams.
Because I think what we all envision is this, right? We've got 7 friends, and we start an Airsoft team, and we're getting good, we're training and all this stuff. So now we have two different fire teams, maneuver element, a base fire element, whatever. And we have these ideas that okay, we're going to assault Newtown, and the 7 of us or the 9 of us or whatever it is, and this fire team's going to go over that. That's great when you're playing in your backyard with 7-on-7. When you get anything more than 30, 40, 50, 80, 100 people, now it should be this squad is the base of fire, this squad. So now the communication is just done over Command Freak, which is fine because there should be limited traffic anyway. Yeah. But your your group of friends is still right next to each other, providing that job, because I've never been to any sort of large scale event. And I'm not saying that this is a large scale event, but
no, we crossed the threshold where I think we needed to be able to fire and mover as whole squad.
exactly.
So-
Yeah, exactly. And so like Milsim West, whatever, like you need multiple squads. It's no longer just like you and your boys,
You're never just doing it as one fire team.
Correct.
It's very rare.
And I think for our purposes here, the more radio freaks you delineate, the more chatter you get, the more static you get, the more hot micing you get. You know what I mean? So limiting radios to just squad leaders, in my opinion, and what you do in your squad is whatever. It's what you do in your squad. It just simplifies the process, and it clears up the air. And now Anthony's not going to go do a 13 county super flank by himself.
Yeah.
Because I can't communicate with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, Anthony, just out of curiosity, what was your squad leader wearing, like a boonie?
No.
I don't think he was wearing a hat.
No, he wasn't.
There were two guys that were squad leaders for you on that event that ran with me at Blood Diamond. They're like, we were trying our best to mess up your day. I was like, good.
No, they did.
That wasn't the squad I was
Yeah.
in.
I was blessed with all of the. I can't remember how many squads I had, like 5 maybe. All of them, at least for a period of time, were very responsive on the radio and actually did the things I told them to do, which was great. Like, because I was able to reinforce, tried out flank. I mean, I was doing like a leapfrog type thing with the capture points. And they were totally willing to just stand there with nothing happening because they understood why they were there. Not that I even explained it to them that well. I was just like, look, we're going to leapfrog.
The Aries app helped with that a lot.
For sure. Yeah.
Seeing where the rest of your team is, you're like, oh, we really don't need to be there.
Yeah.
So it helped. It's cool.
It was
Yeah,
good.
I was way more reactionary than strategic.
Yeah.
This game, because like I said, I felt like I didn't have as many chess pieces to play with. I had to see the chaos that was happening and then try to do my best to maneuver around that.
Yeah.
So much so that my wife was like, you should buy 10 radios and then rent them out to people. And I was like, that's actually not a bad idea. Maybe I'll just buy 10 Baofangs with hand mics and be like, give me a piece of collateral. Here you go.
Nah, just take down their phone number, call them on the spot, and be like, okay.
Yeah, actually, that's a good idea.
So the what is it? AMS. One of the commanders, the guy's name's Rich. That's what he does for AMS.
Yeah.
So all of his squad leaders, he brings digital. He's big on the digital. He brings digital radios and he hands them out. And he signs them out and gets them back.
So I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to invest in about 10 radios.
Yeah, it's not the worst idea in the world, actually.
So that way I have because there are people like, man, I don't want to reprogram my radio, or no, I don't have a radio. Here you go.
Here.
Now you have no excuses.
Press the button.
Have that on and answer me when I say, yo, squad 6.
Yeah. You could even label the radios with their squad number. That way.
I've already thought it out. I already got the blue marker. It's going to be like, oh, he's squad 6, squad 7, squad 1.
And just be like, hey, put this on your weak side, not your strong side.
Yeah.
Put it on your weak side.
For the love of God.
So that every time you shoulder your weapon, it's not like, so you don't just hear, wow, wow, wow.
Set all of them to 30-second transmit over time and turn VoIP off.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was one point where I found out I didn't know who was hot micing, but I found out where they were because I heard somebody running upstairs, and then on the radio I heard the same thing, and I was just like, hey, whoever just ran up the stairs, they're hot micing, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I need to find out who's hot micing, guys, because I'm going to take your radio and I'm going to adjust a couple settings so that you're not hot micing as well.
Yeah.
And I'm going to throw it in.
It's like, I'm going to take your fucking radio and adjust a couple settings just here and there.
I had what I can only assume was a water buffalo on command comms for about a minute. It was like,
It's like the 300, the movie The 300. The Persians threw everything they had at us.
all of a sudden a rhino comes out of one of the buildings.
My God.
Oh my God.
Now I'm picturing you shirtless being carried by a bunch of normies
with the command in a box over in front of me, like a pelican, whatever it's called.
When all else fails,
shit.
have a runner.
It'd be more like the corpse eater from Fury Road.
Oh my God.
Oh shit. Whereas Leonidas asked you to stand. I only demand that you kneel. Yes, Brian. I'll join the red team.
I will say for next time, we'll probably not use the NATO symbol so that you don't get that confused again.
Yeah, because you were red team, but your guys were showing up as blue because you were friendly, which was like,
Yeah.
It was. In the end, it really didn't. Only one or two times I was like, all right, guys, I need all the blue elements to go to this building, because I was looking at the thing,
Yeah.
and it was like they would show blue because they were friendly to me.
Yeah.
It didn't even, like, I remember hitting the setting, because on Ares Alpha, you can do it where it's like, do you want the game to use NATO indicators or do you want it to use our indicators? And I'm like, oh, well, just NATO. That's fucking cool. It's super Milsim.
Yeah.
It's always NATO.
I had like two different red players walk up to me and go, hey, I don't know if this is a glitch or something with the software. Like, I'm on red team. And he shows me his map and everyone's blue. And I was like, oh, that's real weird. Did you scan the right team?
Yeah,
like,
blue is friendly. That's just,
yeah, it took me like 2 or 3 hours to be like, oh, we're using NATO friendly indicators. Fuck, everybody's going to look blue to everyone. But on the playback, at least it shows them as blue and red.
so it showed for you. It showed blue bands as blue as well.
no, it would show them as
It
red.
showed us as red. Okay,
Right,
so that's
but
not that bad.
For
red
both,
is, yeah.
Yeah,
for both teams, it showed friendly players as blue and enemy players as red.
Well, because that's how it is.
I mean,
Yeah, that's how it is.
In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter, right?
no,
Because
it doesn't. Because you can't see the other team. So it
correct.
doesn't matter.
I mean, and even when you can with the UAV, they're purple.
Yeah, exactly.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see any. We launched the.
I saw one.
What a terrible UAV.
We deployed a UAV and didn't see anything. One guy
Yeah.
was like, "I don't think the UAV's working." I was like, "Or there's no enemies here."
They found the UAV QR code, and I was like, look, and I knew which squad it was, so I was like, look, just hold on to it, and we'll figure out when you want to use it. And then our CP started getting attacked. I think these were the guys that were all the way out at like Newtown or something, and
That was my squad. We were at Newtown, and then we went all the way. We went all the way back to the CP, and it was just you sent in. You said like a couple squads.
No,
Or
I
you sent in a squad.
Yeah, it was
And-
like one squad, and it was
Whatever they did, they must have like just started shooting at people and then left, and it just turned into like
no, well they
blue
did,
shooting blue.
no, so
What
so
time
he's-
was this?
I don't remember. We'll see it on here. It was pretty early on.
This is when you got crashed out and I had to come over. That same time frame?
Like when you're out?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
well. If it was really early on, then it was a group of guys doing it of their own volition. Because I only sent people to your CP once, and it was later in the game.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm
this was
misremembering.
earlier in the game.
I feel like it was early. Yeah.
It might have.
We went there thinking there'd be a bunch of bad guys, and I ended up just like PIDing our team for the rest of our team.
Oh no, I know exactly who it was.
Yeah.
It was the
It was at least-
Marsoc and the Oscam guys, because I did say because I told them to keep
Yeah.
pushing up on that side until he hit contact, and they're like, we're almost at their CP, and I was like, just take a look, and then pull back.
It was a decent group.
Oh, that was John and Shelby. That's who it was.
Could have been. I didn't see like a massive force, but they were accurate. And I didn't start calling for like
I built the guns.
I didn't start calling for reinforcements until because I had a small group with me, and it was like, oh, that guy's down. Oh, that guy's down. Holy shit, they have an angle. Like, okay, now there's only 2 of us. Hey, I need fucking like CP's under attack. But it was cool. It was fun. That was fun.
I mean, you want to hit play here?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hit it.
All right, let's try this at 4 times. Timestamp 10:43:20.
Did you realize that your fragos got taken at any point?
Did I realize it? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. Like,
I got him back. It's all right.
well, the guys went over there and they came back. First of all, they came back
was
with
probably
like
nobody there.
the blue box.
Yep.
Yep. And then somebody else came back like way later, and they were like, "Oh, I found this envelope," and I was like, "You're not supposed to have."
Oh yeah.
So
I noticed.
Did the envelope say ref cheat sheet on it?
No,
That's the one that I found.
It was my like Frago list.
So that was kind of the thing though. Like we had a ref planning meeting Thursday night, explain to all the refs that were working. Like, hey, yes, Dylan and I wrote it, but you guys also need to know what's going on. And we walked them through like, hey, don't show the ref cheat sheet to anyone. Here's the medic rules. Here's the game mechanics. Like we even wrote on there, like, don't show players. You can show players this one. Like this is okay.
Yeah.
When I found the cheat sheet, I did not open it. I did not look at it.
Yeah. And one of the things that came up was
Swear to God.
the red
No, I
and blue
didn't.
boxes, because the beginning of the game, you guys had this mission of finding 3 folders.
Yep.
And in those folders,
Never found all 3.
In
Yeah,
those
yeah, I know.
folders were numbers, and they would undo basically a high school gym locker lock that was on a red box and a blue box, and inside that box was an EMP.
I'm actually glad the EMP didn't get used.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, my
with
red
that,
dot would have stopped working, and
yeah.
I'm just going to be honest with you. A Coke can is now going to go in my kit because I could have opened that thing up with a Coke can.
Yep.
Oh,
That's right.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh dude.
Yeah, like
Those
super,
locks is like
super easy.
Super easy.
we'll get to that. But one of the
Lockpick
refs had
skill.
said during the ref meeting, they're like, hey, they can take props out of the other team's HQ. And I was like, yeah. And they go, what if they take the other team's box? And Dylan cuts it off and goes, we're not going to tell them they can do that. But if it happens, it happens.
Yeah. So when they brought that back over to me, I looked at Dan and I was like, dude, like, what am I supposed to do with this?
If
Like,
it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
Because now you can potentially go find their 3 folders, or their 3 folders could have been in their CP, and you could have
You
taken
just,
them too.
well, and you just
And then-
denied them an asset.
Yes.
Which is great.
And then 2 hours later, this guy comes over and like runs away with both boxes like a.
But we did make sure that in the event something like that happened where they took your actual commander packet,
Yeah.
at least all of the missions were on Ares Alpha, so there was redundancies built in. So if that happened, if he lost it, if somebody took it, shit like that, you guys would still have the actual missions. No one would be screwed over and be like, I can't play the game now.
So
I feel like we haven't gotten there yet, but we will get to a point where the commander packet's completely unnecessary.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
even as it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
Even though
It was
I
a
couldn't-
redundancy, but
Yeah,
like,
even though I couldn't accept new missions at the one point,
Yeah.
right? It didn't matter because I still had that reference in the GM and commander chat.
yeah.
So
Yeah, because to be fair, up until probably 6 o'clock the night before the game, that was not going to be used the way that it was, because we didn't realize that was how the mission parameters worked. So we were struggling when we were fooling around with it here to get the ability for the commander to accept the mission on the app. Until Friday night, we were screwing around with it again, and I was like, what if we set the mission parameters to co-align with the game parameters in terms of the time? Because everything in Ares Alpha is timed. And once I did that, it was like, here's a mission. Oh, you can accept it now. Now it moves it from the mission tab to accepted missions tab. And you saw it with the first one. The issue is that we didn't know, because we didn't try it with more than one, was I didn't realize after the first one, you guys couldn't accept it.
Yeah.
It still showed it. It still
which
showed
was-
it on the screen.
which was fine.
And there was a third fail-safe in the aspect of, once you guys did tell me, I was like, oh, here, I'll just update the map. And I had the Fragos already on the map for you. But if we can get it to where that works seamlessly all the time, then yeah, we don't need the commander packet.
Yeah.
I don't think you need the commander packet anyway, as it is, because I mean, let's be honest. Like
Well,
the
but-
mission,
well-
the mission comes through. All you got to do is like go back to the mission, push the button, and it shows it on the.
Yeah,
It
but
still
I
shows
would
it.
like it to be perfect before we do away with that.
Well, not only that, but we're also looking at this from the lens of you and I being commanders. The eventuality, the hopeful eventuality, is that 2 players are the commanders.
Yes.
Right? Because the whole point of all of this, a lot of this whole thing stemmed from the fact that for ops, I can't find people that want to be commanders. So how do we facilitate finding these people? How do we give them a reason to be a commander that isn't, I'm not going to say that our ops are serious, but like something that's a little like a notch down from being serious. You know
They're
what I mean?
serious enough that it matters.
There's coordination that's required, right? So what's a good way to practice?
Yep.
All right, let me come out on an open play day and let me try. And you know what? If you try and fail, so what? It's an open play day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there will be diamonds in the rough that we will discover through this process. And so, like, we're not going to have the inside baseball, which we didn't for this one anyway. But like,
I knew nothing.
yeah, we're not going to have like,
I didn't even know I was commanding until like a couple days before.
Neither did Dave.
It's like so, I don't remember where I was going with that.
You were basically going with that. Right now with the commander packet, it's necessary.
It's necessary.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fair
But
enough.
it gives potentially that player commander a backup.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Because maybe he's not super familiar with the Ares Alpha app. Maybe he doesn't realize he can go back and read the mission a second time, even if he didn't accept it, shit like that. So we'll keep the physical packet for now. But eventually, yeah, hopefully that, saves a couple bucks on printer paper and ink.
Sure. And I mean, I see a day where the CP is a working, functioning CP where maybe we have some, I don't know how we would protect them, but laptops that
Well,
like
Brian's working on that.
function. You know what I mean? Like,
Alpha test went
Just thinking
freaking beautiful
Yeah,
for that,
so-
by the way.
yeah, yeah,
It,
right.
it worked out absolutely flawless.
So Brian brought like a command in a box, a giant box full of radios and antennas and all sorts of shit. Basically just like unpacked his
So-
CP.
So it's it was like what, the Pelican 1630 case. So it's
Something like that.
You know, it's about this big, about this deep, and about, you know, that
cube.
wide.
It's a big box.
Yeah, it's a big box. Inside of it, I had my tablet that was connected to self-service that I have, right? So that we would be able to function with Aries Alpha.
Yeah.
I had a base station radio that I was able to program from my computer, 25 watts, right?
Nice.
So I could punch it. I also had the laminated map from Blood Diamond, right? So that way I
Okay.
could kind of just white pen draw in there.
Yeah.
A camping battery, like one of those Anchor ones.
Nice.
By the way, it ran that thing all day beautifully. I went down to 74%.
Oh, wow.
It's not bad.
So that's like a 2-dayer.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So the three functionalities that I was looking for in there is I wanted to be able to communicate. I wanted to be able to have overhead, like, you know, see the map in real
Sure.
time. And the third one was I needed something to be able to make quick notes on, which was the little laminated map.
Man.
Next step, I'm going to mount either a small TV or a computer monitor in the lid, put white plexi over it, and then
Oh,
use.
shit.
So that way I have what's going on my tablet onto there, and then I'll be able to use the white plexi with dry erase markers and make.
Yeah.
You need Microsoft Teams on it. That's Milsim.
No, PowerPoint. All of my missions will be PowerPoint.
Yeah, God. No, you give every one of your players like a rear facing GoPro like neck thing. So you've got all these faces like oh man, like all those reality TV shows.
Yeah,
It's like
every cop show. Yeah.
it's like just a close up on
So-
your face.
It worked out great. I was able to communicate across the whole field. I was able to see what was going on at any time, and yeah, it was a good thing. Now I just need to put 12 radios in there for people.
That's fantastic. I love that.
Did we hit play on this yet?
No.
No.
We can get there.
So Dave,
I feel like you started. You're like,
yeah, we tried. I was trying
you went
to
full screen and then took it out of full screen.
I was trying to facilitate.
We never
So,
hit play.
Before we actually hit play, I'm curious to know what your initial thought process was here.
So only because I used to play squad a little bit. This is how the video game squad does their games, right?
I've never played it.
So it's exactly this over a much larger scale, but basically this, right? So I got my squad leaders together. I think I was asking like 3 more minutes, right? And I was basically just like, look, we can't capture flags before we capture the previous one, but we can pre-stage, right? So I had a squad. My first flag point was African Village. So I sent one squad there. They're going to start the cap, which instantly I was telling the other squad leaders that starts a 10-minute timer, right? And then I had another squad at my second point, which was Fuel Depot and also Embassy. And then I sent a squad all the way up to your second point. And I was like, look, we can't capture that, but we can delay them. And it's a strong position.
Yep.
Especially coming down that hill. So that's what we did. And I didn't send a squad there because this squad was so close that they could leapfrog, right? So I told the squad that was going to do African once they capped to bypass and go to whatever it is.
That was us,
Newtown, yeah. Newtown.
Yeah. So my initial thought process was, again, like 1 or 2 squads to the mosque. And then I immediately wanted a blocking force come down along the side here. So that way it would just, I don't like having, because where our two CPs were in our respawns, I didn't like that wood line being open.
Yeah.
So I wanted a squad or 2 to head that way. The idea was, and I was kind of pulling punches a little bit,
Okay.
but I wanted to send a few squads like here.
Oh, you did?
Because
Yeah,
my thought process was, well, again, we can't take it, but if we can try to make the fight kind of stay along like Fuel Depot area, that way, it could allow a little bit more freedom of movement to capture back objectives.
Yep. Back cap. That's what we call it in squad. Back capping, right?
So I think it would have worked had
for sure.
had I been able to communicate a little better.
So you'll see off the break here. It was amazing, dude. My squads all went to where they were supposed to go. It was really awesome, actually.
All right, let's hit it.
So look, there's the break.
Yep.
And then boom.
That's beautiful movement.
Look at. Oh, it's a thing of see, and they were and they were smart, right? They didn't go in the building. They went to the tree line behind Embassy, right? Because if you're gonna defend something, you're not in the thing. You're usually in the ground ahead of it. That way you have a place to. But look, it was amazing. Your guys come down here. Oh, nice.
Yep.
You guys were coming down there because on the radio
through the woods near African, they can't see us yet. So
yeah, at that point we were in African Village. We were taking fire from the wood line and from the mosque compound in those new buildings. There's like LMGs.
If you hit spacebar, does it?
No, we gotta.
Yeah, there's like LMGs in both directions.
Because this is kind of a good stopping point, right? Because it's
10:58:20.
Because it's it kind of shows how the lines became established, right?
Yep.
Now, these guys pulled off. The guys at Embassy pulled off because I think at this point I was sending them over to African to reinforce, or maybe they were reinforcing here. Yeah, they were definitely reinforcing here. Look at all your guys here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because the guys at Fuel Depot, I wish I could remember their squad names. You went with numerical squads. I told my squad leaders, I was like, make whatever names you want. So I had Dev Crew, I had Nasty Squad,
Nope.
I had
Reaper,
I had, dude, it was awesome. I loved it. I loved every bit of it. So
Not me. I told everybody to just first, second, third, fourth, and the guys in there. Nope. You can see not everybody listened, but first squad was on it. Look, because they just named themselves 1-1.
Yeah.
Like almost everybody named themselves 1-1. I had some guys like saying, "Hey, I have a saw," or "I'm 1-1 medic."
That's actually really good. Yeah.
So it was a beautiful thing. Yep, 1-2 squad leaders right there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Over in the woods, and those were the guys that bought in because
it's fucking awesome.
they clearly did, and so. Yeah, you had beautiful movement there. You guys had a lot of hustle right out of the gate too. It looks like my guys were taking a salty little vacation down.
Well, there's one thing we haven't talked about yet, and that's the weather.
Yeah. Oh,
right. This was literally the first day of summer, and summer showed up.
yeah, with a vengeance.
Yeah. I mean, it was hot and humid. I mean, hot. It didn't peak above 90, but it was
about
high.
90.
No, it got up there. Yeah.
It was definitely high 80s for most of the day. And the humidity was definitely above 70%. It was tough. It was a tough day.
2 heat casualties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a tough day. It was tough, right? And it was one of those days where if you didn't actually hydrate the night before, like you were going to be fucking hurting. And it showed. There was definitely some people, even on my team, that showed. But it's also great because the whole point of this is to test yourself. And now maybe those 2 heat cases know now. Like, oh, fuck. I can't fuck around and drink a 6-pack the night before, or 15 or 20 or 30, whatever.
Yeah, test yourself in the
Connex
crucible.
boxes. Brutal.
Yeah, the Connex boxes get hot.
Connex boxes are hot.
Or the joke
Brutal.
the joke that you made to me at the end of the game, where you saw a dude who was eating a sandwich about this big.
Oh God, huge! Like before the game started, there were 2 guys just woofing like a sub that was like this long, and it was like fat.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey buddy, you want to maybe save half of that for later? Probably a good idea. I don't know if he did or didn't, but
I want to put a lead weight in my belly.
I didn't see him at the end of the game.
Like, let me get the meat sweats, the real sweats, and a carb nap. Like,
Dude, that looked like the kind of sandwich that I would just woof down like back in going to Westchester doing flooring in one place, and I don't care if I fall asleep after lunch.
Yeah. I mean, so it was kind of a double whammy. Like, yes, the game, which actually only ended up to be 4 hours, right? And it was hot and brutal, and there was a lot of movement, very dynamic movie, especially in the beginning. It was supposed to be hard, and it was. You know what I mean? So anything after this is going to be a cakewalk.
So,
like in terms of like weather and all that stuff.
Well, not only that, but right, you guys got to forgive me because I'm always like, hey, back in my day. But this game kind of reminded me of what the second Pine Plains was, because it caught, right? Everybody heard and like, everybody was super excited, but the amount of people that fell out, it was like 70-60%.
Definitely what we had.
It's almost exactly like what we had. What did we have? Like a little over 100 people, and there was 40 or 30 at the end.
Yeah.
100. I look back at it as 130.
Okay.
Like 131.
Yeah.
People. I don't know if they all played after lunch. But
So when we lined it up, it was 63 players on your team, 64 on his.
there you go.
Yeah.
No wonder we won. I should have been. We got to fight uphill, boys. They outnumber us.
By how many? Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about that.
I've told you technically the truth.
Yeah. Follow me. Here's my CP. Yeah. So yeah. At this point, this is kind of like this is almost exactly what I wanted, man. Just a nice front line. You guys having to fight downhill through open terrain. Didn't account for this because you hit Fuel Depot hard, and it shows. I can see all your little red dots here.
So the idea was if you hadn't captured Fuel Depot already, or even if you did, if we break through there, it allows us. I was hoping that we'd be able to swing up towards, what is that, building 34?
Yep.
Right? That we could swing that way because I knew you had guys pushing all the way up over by the castle, right?
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
idea was try to swing up that way and then come from behind, so to speak. But I was not able to execute.
You were close.
I know.
You were extremely close. I'm sure if we hit play again, you're going to see a lot of blue going back to respawn
It got pretty close.
Yeah, it scared the fuck out of me from admin perspective because this circles back to a conversation we had about AMS being here and not slowing down how you play on the field when like there's a larger event going on. And I was like, holy fuck, it's 2:00 and Brian's team's pushing Fuel Depot.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no.
But yeah, I forget the squad name that was there. It was so good. But they were like, we're getting overrun. And that's when I pulled these guys over to reinforce them.
Can we like zoom in and see?
No, it doesn't show their squad name.
I wish we could click on it and it would be like, this person was a member of this squad.
Oh, it did. It did.
Oh, wait, what?
It did.
Hover,
I just
just
hover?
hover it, yeah.
Death Squad. That's right, Death Squad. Their name became true. What was this one?
Became very true.
Was this one DevGrew? Oh, Reaper. That was Reaper. That's this guy. So
Okay, this is one.
Dev Crew's there as well.
This is when we were pulling out of African and heading towards Newtown.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I see Reaper up here.
Well, that's the name. That's his.
One of the guys in our squad was Reaper. Like his call sign was Reaper, and he was in Reaper squad.
That's Kyle.
In Squad 4.
Oh yeah, then there's just Nasty Squad. Yep.
Oh, I know that Reaper.
Nasty Squad.
That Reaper's in red.
Anthony,
Yeah.
I'm looking at the playback on my phone. You guys left Newtown at 2:15.
Yeah, so game on.
Yeah, I'm realizing the reason why the time's off on that computer is because I haven't changed the date and time settings on that computer in like 6 years.
Oh, I was expecting an Iceland story.
Yeah.
No, I haven't updated the date and time settings on that computer.
But yeah, it got real close. Death Squad became Death Squad. Like I don't remember if they were all like dead or if they were like, well, there's one guy left and hopefully a Reaper's medic can get everybody back up. But it was real touch and go. And then I want to say not long after that, our CP started getting hit. So I had to start pulling people over, but I don't remember.
Let's hit it.
That doesn't happen till after our squad makes it to Newtown.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, look at the stream of guys.
Holy cow.
Yeah, look at the stream of guys going.
Yeah. What?
11:40.
Whatever it says on this computer, it's about 10:59:20, right? So this happened almost immediately after when we just paused.
Yes. Yeah, you guys hit it hard.
Whoever that is found the 3:00 frago at like.
Oh yeah, that was second.
2:10.
That was second squad. Yeah, we. Well, that's the thing, right? They're like, hey, we found a flight recorder in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
And I was like, just leave it because we weren't supposed to take anything. Next time, if I find anything that even remotely, I'm just gonna Luke Goblin it again, like I did at Blood Diamond. If it looks important, I want it back at the CP. You know,
Don't be afraid.
And that's
grab
fine.
it.
And that's fine because the CPs can be rated, so that's fine.
Oh, Jordan,
Yes, sir.
when we were talking about the command in the box, throw up the stupid
the
picture
photo,
I sent
yeah.
you. Yeah. So at this point, that's like second squad. So the OSCAM.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So they were holding down that section pretty well, and then I think I just had some guys doing probing and force, just kind of keep bumping up and down. Now they were not all on the app.
yeah.
Now if you look here, like if I zoom out, it looks like you outnumber us a lot more than you really do.
Yeah.
I think I had a bunch of people just turn their phones off again. So because I mean, what, three people in the parking lot?
Well, don't forget this guy going home.
Hold on 1 second. Let's really zoom
Oh.
out. Yeah, that guy already called it quits, and he's in his neighborhood, in his backyard.
In the pool.
Yeah, guys, remember, if you go to leave the game on the field, in the app, there's 3 buttons. You push that, it goes to stats, and then you hit leave game. Otherwise, we can see you go to eat Chili's or hang out.
Or how far you have to go on 84 to get home.
Yep.
We can see you if you go to Europe. Okay. As long as your phone is connected to cell signal, like we can see it.
Yeah, and because it's integrated with Google Maps, I had a friend of mine up in Corning, which is hours away when I was beta testing with him, and I could see him here. I had another buddy in Poughkeepsie, and we were all live at the same time, hundreds and hundreds of miles apart. So just don't forget to log out, guys.
Not that we're going to do anything with that information.
No, but now everyone that also was in that server can see it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, so if you were, go ahead and watch the playback, and maybe you can find a neighbor that also plays that you didn't know about.
Yeah. That lives right across the street from you. But yeah, so we took many casualties there at Fuel Depot, and you can see all the guys in my respawn. You guys almost had it, man.
Yeah, I was.
Shit.
I was trying my best to really push the Fuel Depot, because if I could do that, it would allow these guys here to continue try to thin out the people in the new CQB area. But
Yeah.
I just could not communicate.
Yeah. So at this point, I think we managed to cap Fuel Depot, and so that's when I sent Reaper up to, or you guys just got there to Newtown, and now my focus is Embassy.
It's 11:04, by the way.
11:4:30.
This.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I think I take this group here.
I'm not going to do the mental math to
No,
adjust
I
the
know.
time
I know.
on your laptop.
Yeah.
No, I know.
We can fix it during.
I think at this
Well,
point,
fix it a post.
I took
Can you convert it to metric?
Yeah, I took everybody that just respawned, and I think I sent them up and around, but you guys like brick walled them.
Well, yeah. Because
Yeah,
that's that second squad again.
yeah. I mean, look at the illegal. Your mom. Some of the names are kind of funny. You have that perfect line across. Look, man, like you're covered, and like you said, not everybody was on the app, so you probably
No, these guys here in second, they were one of the heavier squads that I had, so they actually had a pretty good skirmish line set up all the way across there.
Yeah, it was very good. It was pretty impenetrable, to be honest with you.
Well, that's what I wanted, because that's a nasty spot to lose.
It was. Let's see what happens. There was also a lot of like dudes kind of hanging out in respawn, which is fine. They were drinking water and whatnot, but at least they were hanging out in respawn. And I totally think what you said about Crossroads is true, right? These guys, once they got back to respawn and they were tired, feeling bad, sorry for themselves, they couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Up there at your respawn, you can look down and see staging. And how tempting is that? You know what I mean?
I think it's true, because I watched it happen as well from there. Now, mind you, I did have some guys that bought in, and they would come back to where CP was, and they would do rest and reconstitution. Or I had a couple squads at a time, just, throughout the course of the day. But I was like, sit tight, guys, take 10. This isn't a 100-mile-an-hour game.
Yeah.
This is, pace yourself 40 mile an hour. Like, the goal is to make it to the end.
That's it.
Right? You don't have to be high speed.
Also, the more people walked off, the more it became you got to move.
Socially acceptable. to walk off.
Well, that, but like the fewer players there were, like the more, if you were left on the field, the more work you had to do.
Yeah.
Yes,
like
for
by
sure.
the end, we were running around.
Oh yeah, no, it was the same thing with me. Like I started feeling the numbers dropping.
Oh yeah.
Like I think
I want to say
before
around
the second frag.
3 o'clock ish.
Yeah.
That's where I felt it, kind of like right at that hour mark, hour of actual playtime.
Yeah, because that was right around the time I walked off the field to get like camera batteries and some water, and I radioed to Dylan. I'm like, "Yeah, we have a problem." And he's like, "What?" And I go, "There's about 35 red players in the lot."
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
looks at the map and he goes, "Yeah, I see that."
Yeah.
There's nothing we could do about it.
Maybe that's just a glitch over.
That might just be a glitch. But yeah, I did. I sent that group up to try to clear that out. These guys are great. 19th Para.
Yeah.
They were like doing a little like Ricky Recon stuff. They were great, man. They were out there for quite some time, and your dudes killed them, but they were great.
Yeah, you can see. Look, they're doing a little fire maneuver there over by the woods. See, this is where they started kind of creeping their way forward off of that line.
Yeah, but by doing that, they opened up a gap.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, and then I had to reinforce here with these guys because you had guys flip around. Like you basically own Fuel Depot right now.
Well, first, shout out again to First Squad. Those guys changed their armband when they found out that I was commanding.
That's good.
So they were Johnny on the spot as well. As far as radio goes, they did a lot of work for me at Blood Diamond.
11:09:30, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Again, they were on it,
Well, look at them.
and they could get stuff done.
Well, look at them.
Yeah.
They're online, like pushing
Yeah.
through. They're together.
Yes.
They're not like fanned out. Like they are within mutual, what's it called?
Aid.
Mutual support of
Yeah.
each other. Like they're doing it right, man.
So, yeah, as a matter of fact, I was their team leader, their squad leader for the last 2 events.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I don't normally do this. And I'm like, you don't normally do this. I'm like, you're
pretty good at it.
Like, you're pretty good. Like, so much so that I was like, hey man, in the fall, I'm gonna be putting together like platoon level stuff. Like, help me. Help me.
Be fantastic.
So, I mean, that's my goal, right? With that, with the task force crucible thing, is I want to get guys working together in whole squads.
Yeah.
I want October to almost be like the culmination of like these Milsim days that we're doing in the summertime, right?
The hope.
That's what I know, it's the hope, but even as far as like any sort of internal organization that I can do beforehand,
Sure.
right? I want to see guys like the first squad leader and be like, hey, step it up.
Yeah,
Because like we were talking about before, in the back of my head, I'm like, well, maybe that's the guy that'll have to fight, sometime in the future at another big op or something like that.
I know
So,
we're jumping ahead already, but we already picked a date for the next one if you want to do it again.
as long as I'm available, I'll keep doing it.
We should take all the players
At this
stayed-
point, because I have no guns, being Anthony, so the only thing I can fight with is a big box.
You can borrow one of my guns, man.
I'm not going to borrow anybody else's gun because my juju's been so bad that I don't want to give you back something broken.
It's
So,
okay.
Yeah, but he can fix it. That's right.
Yeah,
yeah, I'm not that.
I have donor guns.
I'm not that guy, man.
You're not that guy, pal.
I wouldn't.
I'm not your pal guy.
My wife was like, "Well, you can use my gun," and I was like, "I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it. Like at least we have something that's functional right now.
Yeah.
Like, you play with that. I'm not touching it."
I'll be back. I'm gonna go do Brian's gun.
Wait, where are you going?
I'll be right back.
Okay. But also something interesting too is that your second squad is in between my guys and the CP.
Yeah, and hold on, who's that guy? Second squad, sixth. Who the heck is that guy? Oh,
Waiting his bleed out, bro.
Does that guy say "I love Fent"? That's his name.
Oh God, is that his name?
It's clever.
It's probably Mitch.
No, Mitch is cyanide.
Okay.
So,
But yeah, so they could have these guys could have, unless they were engaging with
well, let's
the
find out.
little recon guys.
Oh, I see that. I heard that. Did we ask to keep it PG?
Yeah, it seems like,
we did.
It seems like they're duking it out down there. But man, look at 1-1. Look at your squad 1-1 there.
It was impressive. Those guys are impressive, right? It's exactly what I would
Look
like
at
to
them.
see.
I mean, dude, just their formation alone, like they are keeping together.
You talking about first squad here?
yeah.
Yeah.
Red's first squad, yeah.
I walked past them. You'll see me on the map. Walk right by them because they almost shot me.
And then these guys were like choking us off here, so I had to send like squad reinforced just to kill those two guys. I actually called over Dylan because I was like, hey man, like,
Yeah, your mom and illegal over there.
yeah.
Oh God.
I was like, I hear something going on and potentially what
Oh, that's it.
I was like, I potentially hear something about, camping the spawn or some shit. Can you go check that out? And Dylan went over there. He's like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, see, that's That's that little light group that finally broke down.
Oh yeah, and
into
look,
there.
and then look, it's just me.
Yeah.
It's just me at my CP.
11, 12, 40.
It's just me at my CP, and ostensibly what looks like 2, but could be more.
Yep.
Guys pulling in on my CP, and I had just sent this group up here to go deal with this. I guess Meow 22 was just hanging out.
Are we naming and shaming people?
Oh, look, yeah, it's Dev Group Squad. They're a good squad.
Well, we will shame you if you have terrible names on your app. You shouldn't do that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm fine. So, second squad at this point kind of broke because you can see Gabe there.
Yeah.
So, there was actually a support element back up here.
Yeah.
While a couple dudes kind of went down to go probe your CP.
They probed it pretty good. Let's see how fast everybody reacts. Because I'm almost certain I had to pull these guys because everybody else was engaged here.
Yeah, the guys up in Newtown.
Yeah, you punched
Reaper.
you punched a huge hole when you hit Fuel Depot. Like 1-1 owns Fuel Depot right now.
I know, and they were like, we keep taking casualties. They're like, we need to be reinforced, and I'm like, I have no one to reinforce. Because second, like, see, if you look at 1-2 squad leader, these guys, they kept dying, or not kept dying, but they died, and they were split here. I had guys down here. It was just the people that I could communicate with were already engaged. See, look, there goes 1-1 back towards, because you finally killed them. And once I lost this foothold here at the fuel depot, I just don't think.
Oh, look, there you go.
Yep.
These guys came back from respawn. Looks like I had a couple more there too. But like, that was just like, oh, look at.
Yeah. They pushed way further than I thought they did.
The maps, the overlay's not accurate.
Oh, okay.
They were all well within bounds. They weren't like doing anything crazy. Like, see that?
Yeah.
They just what happened was I don't know how I cat-eyed this guy. Like, I built like little bunker with the whatever you call the water things or whatever.
Like 250-gallon containers.
Yeah, and I just happened to look through in between them. And I saw tree cancer. You know what tree cancer is? Tree cancer is when people hide next to trees. So you got the straight line of the tree, and then all of a sudden, like the bulge. Yep. And I looked, and then your brain catches up, and it was a guy pointing his gun right at the CP, and I was like, "Fuck!" I didn't have my helmet on. I was like, I almost took my plate carrier off, like, because I really intended to play the entire game from the CP.
Yeah.
And I just looked, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And then it opened up. And there was like 4 guys that were just kind of in the area that came over. And then you can see I called for reinforcements and I got a little bit more.
Yeah, there's like those 19th pair guys you were talking about.
Yep. They went back to respawn, came right back down because their initial intention was to re-go because they were kind of cosplaying LARP. And
hey, man, I'm all for it.
Yeah, no, it was good. And they kind of accidentally did exactly what they were supposed to. It was good. I liked them.
There was somebody there.
Oh, yeah. They had just come down. It looks like they're out of bounds here, but it's not. It's just a playback. And they hit us pretty good. And we finally pushed them out. It's so cool kind of seeing it evolve. Oh, look.
Yep. That was our breakthrough because we were trying. We were
11, 22, 10.
Yeah, we were engaging here for so long, and especially with these guys up here, because you can see, kind of back and forth up by the castle.
They're probably in the castle. That's probably not their accurate location.
I believe at this point we may have captured that objective.
You might have,
and we were trying to push forward, but it looks like we were being engaged down here,
like point blank range.
Yeah, holy cow, that's close.
So for those listening, I know you're probably not watching, but Brian's red team, they had a squad just bust right through the middle of CQB there.
Yeah, that fifth.
Like there's like some of my guys don't even know what just happened. Like they're still in CQB, probably still fighting in the same direction.
Yeah, look at this. This is just a pick 'em up group. 3rd squad, 5th squad, 7th squad.
Sure.
And there's like 8 guys right there.
Yeah.
That's what I like about new CQB. Like you could have a breakthrough like that and you can be in the town and not realize that happened. It's just so chaotic.
Well, and even from a command standpoint, I can't readily identify that because again, I can't see the red players, right? So all I see is two or three blue players down here, but I still have a line. So there's no real reason to expect a breakthrough.
When you get hit and you use the injured notification on the app, it is a very useful tool for your commander.
Yeah, but that's something.
If they see people getting like injured along the way.
But that's also something we have to clarify for next time because
Don't use dead.
Don't use dead. Yeah, because there were players that
dead means you're out of the game. Yeah.
Right. So they were just hit, like they would get shot, go, oh, okay, cool, and they hit that they were dead.
Did anybody hit SOS?
No,
No.
thank God.
There we go.
Nobody.
They did listen to that part, but that was my mistake during the briefing, not dictating the difference between injured and dead.
Yeah.
So when players were just hitting, they were dead. It wasn't giving medics notifications they were there, and it wasn't. All it was doing was taking your box that was normally blue and turning it gray.
Yeah, so I was seeing a lot of that.
Yeah.
So
I will say this. The medics, we always had a medic around. I'm not saying that like I had the same guy following me around.
Dude, this is the only Airsoft game ever that I've ever played that actually had a designated medic that like when I got hit, I actually got a medic.
Yeah.
It's the first time that every other time it's like, is there a medic around? No. Okay, get fucked.
Yeah.
So I'll say something. If you're out there and somebody says, "Hey, do you want to be a medic?" If you're not going to do your damnedest to get all the way to the end of the game, please don't take up that slot. By having one less medic or somebody walk off the field, it is such a detriment to the other people that you are playing with.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I understand like you heat cash out, maybe you get hurt, something like that, but like do the job if you want to do the job.
Well, that's also something we can adjust the ratios on because all we said was that there would be dedicated medics, like one per squad.
Yeah.
But we didn't dictate what a squad size was. So we can also, and we've done this for normal open play games where we do use a dedicated medic. We can say, hey, there's going to be one medic per every 5 or per every 7 players. So there could be more medics in the mix, and that's a number we can adjust based off of the player count.
So what's the whole point of this?
The whole
Milsim.
point.
So
right.
one per squad.
Yeah.
Right. But then we really have to establish what's the size of a squad because
No.
Traditional 13, but it's really up to the commander to do the math, right?
Right.
I think I had 5. I think I had 5.
Depends on what you mean by size.
Okay.
well, that's kind of the
What's
thing.
the definition of is?
We can adjust it accordingly and say, hey, look, if like this time there was 120, if next time there's 200, that's great. We can stick with it. Maybe one medic per every 10 players. So we
Well,
say
that'd be
arbitrarily a squad is 10. But if we see there's a day where, hey, maybe it's a Milsim day and we only have 80 players.
Yeah.
Maybe we do one for every 5 players or one for
So-
every 7. That's something we can adjust on the fly.
I had 7 squads because I had just the way certain people came together.
Sure.
I was trying not to bloat things out, especially with a bunch of people that didn't play together, because my command philosophy there was multiple small units because almost every single squad was ad hoc, right?
Yeah.
So you have a high chance of an ad hoc squad just breaking apart.
Yep.
So my thought process was 7 squads up to, I think I had 13 in the biggest one, and the smallest one was 7.
But right there, that shows that you had 7 medics and Dave had 5.
Yes, but
So that's
wait till you see how many people disappear. So,
no, I get
You
that,
know.
but I'm saying on paper that could be a glaring issue.
It could in an
It could,
Airsoft game.
yes.
Could, right? But ideally, the squad sticks together. So it doesn't matter that he has 7 squads because there's
Yes,
still
I
only
see
one
the
medic
point
per
you're
squad,
making,
right?
yeah.
Like so each group always has a medic. And even with just having 5 squads, again, like Anthony said, like and I used the app and I did do dead for a little bit, but then when I switched to
I did it too.
yeah, when I switched to injured, I was getting medics.
Okay.
It worked great, and there was really never a point where we called for a medic and they were like, I don't know.
That's also the benefit of doing this
Yeah.
because to me, once I heard that, I was like, oh shit, that's something we could change. If it doesn't need to change, then that's okay.
I don't think so. If you
Right
keep it at
now-
the squad level, I think you're okay, because again, it's one of those things where 2 more medics, it's not making that much of a difference.
No.
Especially when you have guys that were like, yeah, I'll be a medic.
Yeah.
Or
You know,
especially
like,
knowing
yeah,
that
you know, all right,
Are they going to?
Are they really going to do
especially
it?
also
You know?
knowing that every player also still has a buddy aid before they need the medic.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Actually, that's a huge point. That's a huge point
benefit.
because if only medics could do anything, then having two
man.
more would actually
Yeah.
be a significant.
Yeah.
And I like that. I mean, the whole point of this is to get players used to working as a group, right? Whether that be platoon level, which would be me, or on the squad level, right? So just getting players to stick together. That's the whole point, right? So I don't think throwing, because I feel like if a squad has two medics, then there's more reason for that other medic to go off on his own,
Yeah.
right?
That was a mission success.
Yeah.
Because the squads did for the most part stick together. Which like
for real.
like if you really think about it, like if we just did open play instead of Milsim Day and we had the same exact people there, but we were just running full field conquest and then
Oh, man.
battle for African or whatever, like the coordination wouldn't have been there. So
No.
I'd say mission success.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
As a whole, 100% success.
Yeah.
I don't think, good job to you guys, seriously,
Thank you.
because it worked. I feel like first large scale deployment of Ares, I think that worked out great. I think even though I personally felt that the game type was a bit too linear, I understand that was the purpose. That for what your mission set out to be, wild success there.
Yeah.
I think the day overall was a success, right?
For a first run? Are you
First run,
kidding?
Yeah, it went
And
really smooth.
the biggest success should be the guys that fell out that take something away from it. Like next time I will do X different. Maybe I got to bring some more goodies to respawn, or drink some more water, or drink one less beer. Like,
Or one less half a sandwich.
Don't eat 4 hot dogs at lunch.
One less half a giga sandwich.
Yeah. One less
it
empanada.
looked delicious though.
I never-
delicious looking sandwich.
So
I have more means of carrying water now. I got,
Oh, that's
so for my birthday, my in-laws got me these gloves, right? And they have a pouch in them. And they have these silicone bladders in them with you can suck on your gloves. They got water. In 'em.
Oh, that's 100% for booze.
Each hand,
that's exactly what I said.
each
To
hand
sneak
holds-
into like a football
We can tell
game,
where
right?
our minds go.
each hand is 12 ounces of water. dude.
Yeah, it's 12 ounces of booze. That's iced tea in one and whiskey in the other. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, go into like a football game in like November,
Yeah.
Jack Daniels in one, Coca-Cola in the
Yeah,
other.
they said you can't bring in water bottles. They didn't say anything about gloves.
What? These are just my gloves. They look ridiculous, by the way. But
I want to see that.
I'm gonna wear them.
let's continue because soon after this, that's a great breakthrough, by the way, of that squad. Soon after this, I feel like the attrition started.
Yeah, look it up there. Yep.
See, it's like I had to have so many dudes because just this small group attacking my CP really
Look,
did it.
that guy just disappeared that you were fighting.
He's a ghost.
He's gone now.
He's a ghost.
His phone died.
Yeah, it could be. Well, also another point too is that
Oh, that guy disappeared too.
Yeah, look, so
holy shit. Yeah, you owned
squad one, man. They're
11:30:30.
anything that I needed them to do, they were doing. And unless I tasked them with something else, they were like a pit bull. They would latch on to whatever the last mission objective was and just go.
Yeah. I think at this point we hadn't even captured our third objective yet. I think that's why these guys are coming over here. Or our third capture point, sorry. Which I liked. I liked that there was it took you 10 minutes to capture something and you couldn't capture anything until that. So ostensibly it would, in a perfect world, if you guys hadn't have broke through there, it would still take 30 minutes for me to get here. That's fantastic. Slowed the game way down and the players understood it.
Yeah.
Like they understood that, yes, we can go there. There's no point in like capturing it, right? Because we have to subsequently capture all the shit behind. And I think that helped the game tremendously. It slowed everybody way down.
I wonder how that would work if we did it with Conquest. Takes you 10 minutes to cap a flag in Conquest.
But not have to go in an order.
Well,
Correct.
yeah, but think about the staffing you need for that.
Yeah.
You need a ref at every capture point all the time,
Yeah.
which means that nobody's walking around looking for dumb shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also reset our timer on a couple objectives.
Yeah, you guys
our
did
own
that.
timer.
Yeah.
Oh God!
Well, so
Like it was like 3 minutes left, and the next thing you know, I heard we just reset, and I was like, oh! I didn't say anything over the radio because I didn't want to kill morale. But it was like we were 3 minutes from capping the next objective, and another squad comes in, and they thought that they were doing good, and because because I also had this issue.
Yeah.
Sometimes the squad would go to capture a point, and the second they would wait for a few minutes, and then they would bugger off.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not stay till completion. I lost so many objectives that way. And then I would have another squad come in because they know, oh, this is the next one we have to take. They come in, they see the timer going, and they go, oh no, stop, restart. And I just lost 7 minutes worth of progression. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
So
there was a group chat of the three of us.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the benefits of Ares Alpha. At the beginning of the game, I started a chat. It was the two of you and myself. And I was like, hey, look, this is the command chat. And then I added Dylan. Thank God you can add people to chat, so I didn't have to remake a new one. And there was one point I remember, I'm like, oh, cool. Red just started their timer on building 34. And then it was like 5 minutes go by. I was like, Red just reset their timer. They're back at 10 minutes.
Yeah.
At least you didn't mortar yourself.
No. Never.
Wait until we introduce field artillery.
Yeah, right.
So, but yeah, I mean, there's so much. I mean, again, I'll hammer the point. The communication is key. Communication is key. If we can't communicate well, we're going to do silly things like that. Now, it's an open day. It's fine. Yeah. But like in reality, who I am as a person, that irks the crap out of me.
Yeah. I would love to see at some point, I'll work on figuring it out, a way to identify on the map who owns that objective, because I know that was something that frustrated both of you.
Yeah.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, it's still Airsoft. It's still fog of war stuff. And like, if it is what it is, if you can do it, great. If not, whatever. Maybe we need on these egg timers.
Yeah.
Some sort of indicator, even if it's just like
If it's red or blue.
red or blue.
Yeah, yeah. Like a chest timer.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, we tried chest timers once before.
Yeah, I
and
remember
the
that.
problem is that there's no neutral.
So maybe what I would shoot. How much is an egg timer? I'll just buy one for every objective that we have.
Oh, we
you
did.
spray paint one. No, an extra one.
Oh, okay.
And then
Oh,
you just spray paint one red. You spray paint one blue, and
we
now you
need
have
it.
two separate timers at every
Realistically,
objective.
we have enough extra because the funny Amazon accident, I ordered a pack of 4 and a pack of 6 to get 10. They sent me a pack of 8 and a pack of 10. So there's 18.
Okay.
Well,
I'm just saying, because to cut down on, I mean, although
the confusion.
it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
Because to be fair,
Imagine Red seeing that their icons are blue, and then they see the two timers, and the red and the blue.
Like,
I mean, also to be fair, that wouldn't have been a problem where they reset it had that initial thing not happened. What you were talking about, where the squad that was there that started the timer, fucked off.
I know.
So communication.
Yeah,
It's all communication. It's everything. Like in a bigger game, communication is king, right? And I hate sounding like I'm trying to like
Start a militia.
Yes. No. But worse than that, like trying to be like cheesy, but it's like those stupid C's that I talked about, right? It's the communication, cohesion, and coordination. Like if we could do those three things in an Airsoft event, you win as long as you stay until the end.
Yes,
you know? But
so I also want to point out here too, 11:30, 1:30. This small group down by my CP, look how many guys they are taking out of the fight simply from being there. I have
that second squad. That's at least a fire team.
Dude, they're doing they're regardless of them if they're killing people or not.
Yep.
They are drawing a squad reinforced away from away from the fight down just to deal with them. That's fantastic. I mean, they did a fantastic job.
It's the whole it's the whole point of having like a probing, patrol to contact type of situation, because I think at one point I said, hunker down, set up a hasty ambush position that's defensible, right? You know what I mean? Because if you can do that kind of stuff, like you said, it draws people away. And if you look at this cluster of people, if I could have communicated more with them, I would have had them moving to Newtown.
Sure, because that would have been your third objective.
That would have been my third objective. I could, because I only had reliable squad comms with 2, I could not get anybody, like these guys up here.
Well, they're fighting it out.
I know. That's all they could do. I was like trying to message them. I was putting up little POI indicators like 6th squad, please move here. 3rd squad, please like go here. I was trying to direct message people. It was, for me, it was frustrating. Sure. But I still had a good time. I don't want to, and I'm not shitting on anybody. I just want to say it was wildly frustrating seeing what was happening and knowing and just knowing that we can do something
Yeah.
and not being able to make anything happen.
I think that's a growing pain.
Yeah.
Because people maybe like me, I never take my phone on the field because you know how many people have lost phones, lost keys, all that shit, and I got to stay afterwards and help them with the fucking phone. So, I mean, I made it a point to be looking at my phone, right? I'm the commander. I need to see what's going on. And plus we're testing all this stuff out.
Yeah.
So I have a vested interest in it. Maybe other people don't.
No, and that's fair.
Right.
I mean, that's fair.
They log into the game, log into the app and say, hey, the commander can see me. And then it goes into a pouch
that
because
was
they don't want to get their phone
Prime
shot.
example of something that Dylan and Dan dealt with because we were scoring points in the app so
Yep.
that we could track it at the end of the game. But that meant every hour points had to be accumulated. So we were doing a flag check on the staff side, but Dylan and Dan, being the refs with blue and red, both had QR codes for 50 points and 100 point scan. Make the life a little bit easier because every flag was worth 50 points. So if you had 2, just scan the 100.
Yeah.
If they had 4, just scan the 100 one twice instead of having to scan the 51 like 8 times.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if it was you or Dan that said it, that at one point they were like, oh yeah, I walked up to a player and they're like, oh yeah, I'll absolutely scan it for you. Can you get my phone? It's in my back in the, backpack
That
all
was
the way
me,
down at the bottom.
Which is totally fair, right? Like,
I'm not asking anybody to put their phone into into the fire.
Yeah. Well, this is a great time for a product placement on ZuluOutdoors.com for a phone holder.
Yeah.
There you go.
And we will have them in store this weekend.
I have one of the ones that you are selling.
Yeah. They will be in the store this weekend. I just ordered 10. So
Nice.
If you want one, swing by.
I have the cheap Chinese repro and it's falling apart, but it works right now. And it was very nice to have.
Oh, sure. And I was constantly like pulling it out of a pouch. I actually got into a fight and dropped it in the woods, but I kind of knew where it was, so I was able to find it. But having that on your chest would be much
I think I'm going to
better.
make a video doing a breakdown of how I set mine up because I've been using that style of phone carrier for a while. It's super beneficial to have that, a 90-degree charging cable, and then an external battery because the rubber bands on it will hold the 90-degree charger in, so you don't have to worry about it randomly popping out. Because a bunch of people, and by a bunch I mean like 3, when we were doing our little walk around the parking lot before the game, like, hey, did you download the app? I had like 3 people tell me, I'm not doing that. It's going to kill my fucking phone battery. And I was like, just get an external battery, man. If you go on the web,
Also, charge it in your car on the way home. I don't know. I'm not addicted to my phone, so like my phone going dead is like, who cares?
Like I can understand using it for GPS, but that's why it's like, hey, look, I went through and found the correct phone external battery that's the size of an M4 Mag, so it'll fit in the pouch.
Oh, dope.
Get a 90-degree charging cable, and then get the phone deck and just set it all up on your play carrier and be done.
Dude,
Zulu package when?
I got to finish it.
Right?
I got to finish it. I have all of the ingredients for it already on the website, and he was like, just make a package deal. They could buy it, and it's done.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And then one up better, design a battery that looks like a magazine.
Oh, I'm pretty sure.
In a metal thing, so if it gets shot, it doesn't matter.
I want it to look like a 417 mag.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Alibaba's already done that.
God damn it, Alibaba. So smart. But anyway, at this point in the game, you securely own Fuel Depot.
Yep.
We haven't taken Embassy yet, which means you can capture Fuel Depot. Oh, no, you can't. You can't. That's right.
Because I can't get people down to Newtown at this point.
That's right.
Because these guys are dug in like ticks inside the new CQB. Our breakthrough, if you notice, it was good. They were wiped out, right, by whoever you sent down towards Embassy.
Simply to take Embassy.
Yeah.
Like not to engage, because obviously I didn't see the breakthrough, which is fucking awesome. But
so, and then there's this one guy down here.
Epic.
Not only does it exist, e-bike sells it,
Holy shit. And it's multicam.
and it's $26.
Wait, it's multicam. It's not allowed.
Oh no, it comes in
there
black
you go.
tan and multicam black, but it is multicam, so you can't buy the multicam one for
Multicam is banned at Zulu.
That's not true. Shut up, Brown.
So, but whoever you guys had in the city, man, they caused such havoc.
I
on
kind of
movement.
I did like a 1,000-foot view of that squad, and I was like, these guys, they're going to want to get in a fight. So I did not give them any other parameter than go to the north end of CQB and delay them for as long as possible. And that long as possible turned out to be most of the game.
Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. Good work, gentlemen.
Like I didn't send them to capture anything. I just said, hey, go and just delay them, because I know what a son of a bitch it is to get from this tree line down, because that was me at Blood Diamond. Like, just it's like
it sucks.
Russian meat waves.
It really sucks.
It's like the only way to get down there, or do what you guys did, come down through Fuel Depot, come in through the southern edge.
That was because of what because of what happened last time. I knew that was the only way that I was going to try to get into the city.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's hard.
Yeah.
Airsoft sucks, but it's awesome.
Look, as long as everybody's having fun.
Play it up, see where it goes. Oh, you guys did. You did come up from the south.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
That's second squad again. Nope.
They finally got, or they fell back.
No, that might have been. They just what? Look at him. He just popped in over there.
That might just be glitch. Well, remember, there's high tension power lines down there, so cell phone signals going in and out. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was one of the things.
That's something we'll address after the playback. Jesus. But look at the attrition that's already happening.
Yep. Look right there.
Yeah.
I'm losing players.
I still haven't even captured this yet.
Does that say it's around 12 o'clock?
11, 40, 50.
Yeah. Okay.
Sounds about right.
So yeah, so that's actually almost 3 o'clock in game, which is right around the time I looked at Dylan. I was like, "There's about 40 red players in the parking lot."
Yeah.
Yeah, guys down the lower parking lot over there.
That's all right. Let them do their thing.
Yeah, of course, because they're leaving.
Do they ever come back?
They're on my team.
Maybe.
So I will
A
say,
couple people did.
yeah, there was probably 10 players that I saw in the parking lot around this time that I did see back on the field by 5.
Yeah, they came back. Or some did. Oh, and now my guys are down there.
Yeah, this is 11:45.
This is about it. Yeah, this is about as chaotic as the lines got for me. Because now when I'm looking at the app, I'm seeing one squad, like half of one squad at Embassy. CQB is thinning out. Like those guys that I sent north, like they're finally dying off. And I've got all these dudes down by my CP who had just tried to clear out, or we thought we cleared out everybody that attacked the CP. And so now I'm like, okay, now we got to go back to work. You know what I mean? Like this was a little side quest, but now we got to get back to work, because I'm looking at the map going, holy shit, because I can see the gaps, and your guys are right in the gaps.
Yep.
Which I can only see right now. I couldn't see during the game. That's awesome.
I think at this point the second squad comes and hangs out with me at the.
Yeah.
No, they're coming and hanging out up there at my CP. Because they just needed a rest, because they were doing some work for most of the morning. Now look at the way you're reorganizing down here, man.
I'm trying.
That's sick.
A lot of those guys are going back, because look at my respawn.
Yeah.
At this point, I realized that my CP was. There's your guy stealing my shit out of the CP. My CP was untenable simply for the fact that the cell signal there is destroyed by the high tension power lines, and so I had to run up. I was trying to get to Fuel Depot, but there was too many of your guys there. So I had a little bit better signal up at the respawn, but I didn't want to stay at the respawn because that seems lame when like the commander's always in the respawn. It's kind of untouchable, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is, man. You're doing what you got to do.
No, but I would go there and see guys sitting down and look at my watch and be like, hey, there's only 2 more hours left. Like, come on, guys, dig deep.
So,
and,
yeah, the good thing about my respawn is I could literally see this path that went to the respawn from my CP.
Yeah.
Right. So as I would see people going by, I'd be like, yo, hey,
yeah.
when you respawn, come over here. I want to talk to you.
Yeah. I got a mission for you.
Yeah.
What is it? Reinforce here. But look, I mean, you securely own CQB at this point. There's one blue guy up there.
I think we may have had Newtown, because it looks like I'm collapsing on 34 here, which would have been my next objective, which is why I had those guys hanging out there as long as possible. Because from Fuel Depot to 34, it's a hop, skip, and jump.
Yep. And there was a real threat at some point in the game of you pushing us all the way back to Fuel Depot, because I remember I was like telling everybody like, hey, Alcon, fucking, we need to get to Embassy and defend Embassy right now, because that's our only foothold on that side of the field.
You returned the favor, because I had to do the same thing with Mosque.
Yeah, that's right. We did push all the way up there. Holy shit.
It was a very good back and forth. It's 11:54.
Yeah, but you see, look at my respawn. Look at these guys.
Yeah,
Ranger. Oh wait, is that us?
I took my squad. through the swamp.
57.
Yeah.
If I ever got brown toes, it was there. I was submersed in still water. So I was like, because we started taking fire by Embassy, and
Yeah, look, that's why.
They're in Embassy.
yeah, so there was like, we can't just keep standing here because we're gonna get killed. We have to maneuver around them, and I completely underestimated how thick that brush and how murky that swamp would be. But we got in there with the idea to maneuver and destroy the enemy, right? And then by the time we got out, I was like, thank God nobody broke any legs. Nobody rolled an ankle.
So this is kind of cool because I didn't know this was happening. You have four guys on the app anyway.
Yep.
Inside of Embassy. We own Embassy, but you guys are clearly taking it back. I don't know that, so I'm setting up to go to try, which failed ultimately, to try to get the Southern gas station.
So this point, I just zoomed in to look at what squad that was.
Mm-hmm.
That's a direct response of no communication with that squad and me dropping a POI and saying this squad number go there.
Well, it worked. It worked. Dropping the POI counted as communications. Does this guy just live up in Newtown? What's going on with him?
No,
okay?
that's a different person.
Oh, is it a different guy?
Yeah.
I will say, I think this is right around the point in the game where I was starting to keep you guys updated with who was capping which objective, because I realized it was getting
We needed that badly. Yeah,
badly.
That was tough.
Yeah, that's
which I can actually check because I can still see the chat.
Look at my respawn. Holy shit.
yeah. Look at the parking lot.
Yeah, look, it's pretty
It's pretty
mixed.
even.
It's pretty mixed down there.
Although I kept seeing like
Pepper box.
because I had my phone. Like if you look over here, right, I have my call sign Crucible Base, and then there's Crucible 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
On one, I'm like, if I opened up on my phone, it was just the parking lot view.
Yeah.
And the tablet was looking at everything else. I was watching real time. People just disappeared. And at one point, I was like, well, there's only 5 people there.
Yeah, actually, I'm looking at the chat. It was exactly at that point when I started updating you guys.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's see how this plays out. It's actually fun.
I tried to make a push.
Yeah, you're pushing.
Yeah. But
You
then
you eventually, 'cause again, this is another one of those situations where where squad 1 was like, we need reinforcements, and I'm like, I can't get anybody there. Like, hold on as long as you can.
I didn't even know these guys were down here. Holy shit. Or maybe they're dead walking back.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, wow.
The app. That's the point.
Wow.
That's my point.
12,
Sorry.
120650. It's like mass exodus, dude.
Like you just watched almost half of my team walk off.
Yeah, dude. They were like, we out. Oh my God.
Let's watch that again.
Holy cow. It looks like
That was everybody.
Trail of Tears.
Yeah. Does a death march.
Yeah.
right out the game.
I got a bunch of blue down there too.
Yeah, but
All these guys are just
watch. They're like, yeah, we're done.
and noodles. Oh, and the squad. Holy shit.
You think they try to sneak
No,
out?
no. Okay, no.
A few go there.
Brian, do you think
Back
they
to
try
respawn.
Do you think they try to sneak around you, Brian, so you wouldn't see him walking off? Because that's what it looks like.
Maybe. What?
Wow. So
No, I'm looking at it on the Aries app on
Yeah.
my phone too, and it's so that's 306 in real time.
Yeah.
And I can see it.
And at that point, I lost all momentum.
Well, and now it's
This is going to be your great comeback.
Yeah.
And this is where eventually you're just, for the next like hour or so, you're just going to slowly take every objective, and you're just going to watch the same 2 squads and like half a dozen or, like 2 dozen people just run around.
Yeah.
Just try. Now I'm just purely reacting.
putting in work though.
I think blue team had from that hour 350 points. So that's 7
That's 7
of the
flags.
9 objectives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the
Wow.
point where Dave pushes you back to the mosque, and we literally looked at each other and we're like, "Oh fuck."
Oh, this is also when my little group goes and raids your CP too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, hit that play button.
Because that's the nervousness on this end, because we were like, okay, if they fight over CQB the whole game, that's great. At the moment we saw Dave's team pushing up to the mosque, it was like,
Now, from my perspective, fine.
yeah,
It's the game.
okay.
Like if you would have locked me in, if I was stuck back at the respawn, it is what it is.
Bye, Kyle. I would just watch him drive home.
I wouldn't be happy, but it's the game.
Yeah.
I've been on the receiving end of it. I've been on the dishing out end of it. Look there.
Fake cow. This was the first attempt.
Yep.
I remember I was messaging Fake Cowboy the whole time, like, "Hey, get in there." They took our stuff.
Is that the guy with the cowboy hat and the lever action?
Oh, fantastic fella. Yeah.
Love that guy.
John.
Dude.
Look here. Yep. Here they come. This was probably when I popped my UAV.
You killed these guys.
And well, it's probably around when I popped my UAV and I discovered that the smallest UAV is worthless.
Yeah. So
Because it centers on where you are.
Yep.
And the radius is what?
50.
It's only 50 meters.
You
yeah.
can have people shooting at each other from outside of the UAV range with an airsoft gun.
Yeah.
So for next time, we already talked about that. We're only going to implement the 500 instead of
Let
the
it be a
50.
little fewer in between, but
Yeah.
Yeah, there weren't, because you also confused us, because as the game masters on the app, we saw that go up and we're like, oh, he did that by accident. Like, we were radioing over and we're like, hey, Dan, we're sending Dylan over. He's going to give Bryan a fresh UAV. Tell him it has to be used where they plan on calling it in.
It was
The
like dead
funniest-
center of the HQ.
dude, the funniest thing was his response, because he was from me to Anthony away. He just kind of turns and goes, "No, they did that on purpose." I was like, "It's okay, man. I see how crappy that move was. Like, you don't have to be like,
Ashamed for you.
Yeah, we were like, well, oh, okay, that works.
Is
you had good reason.
the EMP and jammer the same thing, or you just use
No, so
No,
the
it's
EMP
separate.
will lock the entire other team out of their app.
Yeah.
So
is it where you get that screen?
yeah, that
Yeah.
screen
Yeah,
that
then-
says you're being jammed.
And what is the
The UAV puts a radius of a specific
right? That's what I
diameter.
meant. The jammer and UAV.
Yeah,
No, sorry, jammer and EMP. I meant.
Yeah,
Same
jammer.
thing.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Same
Same
thing,
thing.
but different. Wow, meds.
But
different.
We literally tested this with you. Over
It's-
like,
It's hot.
It's
Yeah.
not that hot in here.
not
so
the hunter.
I just take a look at what's on the field.
Oh yeah. See, I didn't realize.
you were thoroughly
Yeah.
like, I don't know why we broke when we did there.
Yeah, you were in
because
a great position.
We were in a fantastic
You were.
position.
I mean, you were knocking on my front door there.
Yeah.
Like,
and then all of a sudden,
yeah, lunchtime.
just like that,
It's like the dinner bell rang.
the street lights were coming on when
That's
we were
it.
kids. They had to go home. If they weren't, their
Except for it
moms were
was the
going to beat
longest
them.
day of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the empanadas, man.
So
That's true.
But yeah, I didn't have radio comms with these guys because none of them are squad leaders, right?
Yeah.
So I was direct messaging them like, get in there. I didn't know that you had a squad. You have like your Spartan squad in there. You got one in there.
Yes, because they were taking, dude, it was almost, no, I'll just flat out say it. I feel bad for the guys, but it was hilarious
Oh, I bet.
because it's like they're coming up to us.
Yeah.
Everybody has their backs, like a squad's worth of dudes have their backs up against the big,
Yeah.
big water containers, and they're just like, they're taking a minute to catch their breath, drink water, like their guns are like at the ready, and just like off to the side, and it was like snap, a stick, like click, and I was like, somebody was like, contact, and all of a sudden 8 dudes pop up from behind the water things. 3 saws just happened to be there at the same time, and it was just like, whoa! And like it's loud, and then like all of a sudden people are like, "Oh my god, I'm sorry, dude, I couldn't hear you saying hit."
Yeah.
And everybody was like, "Oh, it's all right, man." But everybody was like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
That-
But it was like. It was an instantaneous combat response from like chilling into like full bore, like shooting from behind cover.
I will say that that exact story you just described there was one of the, like, if we can create that kind of airsoft moment from separating the respawn and the HQs, like I wanted that
Yes.
specific thing to
It
happen.
happened.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was. I was. Oh, and somebody gave me another pistol that they found.
Fantastic.
So Beretta. I was like, thanks, whoever's gun that was.
That's fucking awesome. Yeah, because when we first started this, I said I wanted to separate the respawn and the HQ so that you would have to have security. But
I didn't for most of the game.
no, but it would produce an incident like that,
Yeah.
which we saw very early on in the game with you doing it to Dave. I'm happy it worked out the way we intended it.
Yeah, that was an awesome moment that I was glad that I was just a part of. So it was.
That's so funny because I'm sure them walking up on there, they just saw the water containers. Maybe they saw one guy or something.
Dan was sitting on one, so it looked like a ref was in an area by themselves.
So then,
and there's 10 dudes like just ready,
it's not just any
ready to
10,
go.
It's not just any 10 dudes.
No, it's the guys that have been holding off your whole side for the whole day.
It's like a very well-oiled machine of
Yes.
death, just chilling behind these water containers, dude. Like holy shit.
Yeah, they were hungry for more action, I guess.
They got it.
So
Yeah, I watched all that. Obviously, I can't see your guys, but I watched my guys go up and then basically immediately turn around and come back. And
so look, this guy actually comes up.
Dude, he's sneaky.
Hey, cowboy.
Yeah,
He
way
had
to go,
a-
fake cowboy.
Get off my ranch.
he had a lever action.
Yeah.
Also, so you have like
God.
multiple saws.
Dude, sweet buddy, good job.
He's one of the only people I've seen using the G&G Lev AR that actually is having a good time.
Yeah. Oh, he's great. No, he's great. Oh, one guy stays. See, like he's coming back to respawn. Yeah, that didn't work out. Oh yeah, look, we had already captured that.
Yep.
Captured that.
No,
I think-
fake cowboy. You walked off.
No, he did. He told me he walked off to get water and he came back. He came back on because not long after that is when I caught up with him and we started to go up around. I don't know if I'm doing it there, but
That's fantastic.
Dude, it was a great moment.
look at man, you just a beehive of dudes there.
You want to keep people
Yep.
from walking off? Put a generator out there at far side spawn. Put a fridge.
No, far side.
So they can go back to staging and get some lukewarm water,
No,
or
it's-
they can go
okay.
back to their
I've
respawn,
all you
and they
have-
can get some ice cold water.
at this point, like I know we don't do vehicles on the field, but I'm gonna bring my side by side with the generator.
Yeah.
like just to drive this stuff out there to try to incentivize people because again, to maintain the morale
Yeah.
in like those critical moments is critical. Right? And for me, it's like when we were doing like these 24-hour events and stuff like that, it was like the 3 o'clock in the morning, right? And it was like, that's when my buddy Dot would open up his candy pouch and be like, Jolly Rancher, Jolly Rancher,
Yeah.
like have a Jolly Rancher. And just like that little bit of something at that point goes a long way. I would love to have like 2 cases of water in like a cooler or something like that
Yeah.
and be like, hey man, at CP at this time of the day, just ask for water. Here you go. Cold, icy, whatever.
Yeah.
But
Especially on a day like that. It was,
it was brutal.
It
It
was
was brutal.
yeah.
And I was in the shade most of it. I was in the woods most of the time.
Yeah.
And it got the sun just peeking through
Yeah.
was getting so hot that I took some camo netting that I had in my 3-day assault pack
Yeah.
and like tied it up with shock cord over top of my stupid little CP that I was sitting on the ground under
Yeah.
because I needed just that much more shade.
Yeah. It's and you know, we're kind of laughing at people walking off the field, but there's
No.
no shame in walking off the field. It was brutal.
Shame.
It was brutal. No,
It was a hot day. So I will say this. Only shame, and this is for your own gut check, if you could have come back and you didn't.
Oh, sure.
Right? If you were just like, nah, fuck it, I'm done.
There's a lack of
If you're mentally done.
there's just a lack of gloves that hold 12 ounces of water in them. That's all they need.
Or you can get the socks that also hold 12 ounces of water. Hold on, I got to get my sock water.
Hold on, I got to get my sippy shoes.
Imagine clearing a room with your pistol, right? You go to high ready.
Oh, shit.
That's all you need.
So let's see what's happening next. Yep, Squad 1 is now trying to push down into the CQB.
Yeah, your squad wants put out. I will say, too, but I had a couple.
Hero squads.
Yeah. And hero squad leaders that were always on the radio, always communicating. And, by this time in the game, it's all hodgepodge
Yep.
squads. And they were doing great. They were sticking together and they were trying. And again, we pushed all the way back to.
I think I started my adoption agency at this point in the game.
I told everybody before to try to stick with squads. I have a little saying: lone wolves become weak links, and I was trying to like, get it into people's heads, and the guys that stuck together stuck it out, and a lot of the onesie twosies, they just
I disagree.
fell out.
The last time you did it, stop.
You had to believe it the last time?
Yes.
You have to believe that?
Stop it.
Fine.
What do you have to believe?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, so lone wolves, weak links.
The lion goes where he pleases.
Yeah, but
Did
the
you keep
lion.
that one?
So what's? God, man, you're just so
Yeah, don't-
different.
you have to-
I'm-
Don't try and break it
There's-
down.
No. I'm wondering, like,
You have to break context
Like, okay,
sometimes.
one of my daughters is very similar to Anthony in this case, and I'm like, do I have to go into that level of detail on this? I'm like, no, he's just looking for a rise.
Explain, explain it to me.
Sometimes you have to break contact with Anthony.
Yeah. Yeah. In this case, it's a
Yeah.
tactical retrograde.
You're attacking in a different direction.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. See, look, you right back in there.
Yeah. Oh, so look, fake cowboy comes back.
Way to go, fake cowboy.
No, he's a killer. He's a killer. And that's when I assemble our little reconnaissance squad.
Yeah. Look at the.
Yeah, I didn't realize how outmanned you were.
Yeah. But then something happened again, because in a little bit we're going to see
it went back the other way.
completely the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So
I think we ended the game with the middle objective
yes,
still
contested. You were there.
Yeah. Yes, I started the timer, but I knew that there was not enough time left in the game to even finish the timer.
You started that timer. We started this timer.
Yes, we stopped that timer with 3 seconds
3
left.
seconds.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
3 seconds.
3 seconds.
And hold on. Whose squad was that just was like, oh, we're going to go try to kill you? And they left that position. That was Schmate.
Yeah, it was
Yes, Schmeggy's group.
So they walked in, started the timer. They stood around for this specifically. This is at 5:40. They started the timer, got a little bored, immediately walked out of the embassy into the tree line for the helicopter. The 8 blue players that were there turned around, saw them, and were like, "Oh, there's red behind us," and just murdered the 3 or 4 of them that were
It's
there.
a 10-minute timer, but the white monster energy wears off in 7.
Yeah.
We lost the game because of that, boys.
Ouch.
No. It was pretty. Not really. It's because you had the objectives. I'm throwing out friendly jabs to a bunch of dudes that are wild cards.
Yep.
That's true.
They're great. They're all great guys, and I don't know them well, but they're a fun pack of dudes to run with. But you're wild cards.
They're straight Sigmas.
God, what is that? Shut up.
But because I was around 5:40, and when Dylan and I were adding up the points, we were like, that would have helped, but it still wouldn't. It wouldn't have swung the game.
It was still pretty close though.
Yeah, it was super close.
Ready for the left hook that's gonna win me the game right here?
Yeah. Were the code boxes actually worth any points?
Yeah, 100 points.
At this point in the game,
All objectives were all props were worth 100 points except for the pilots.
Brian,
Yeah.
throughout the
Pilots
game,
were
you had a
200
bunch of red that were not on the app. At this point in the game, are there still a bunch of red on the field that weren't on the app? Do we know?
A little bit. It wasn't as much because what you'll see here is after the hero flank on my CP, I start walking around because it's just I have nobody. I have no again, 2 squads on comms. One of them, actually both of them, have reduced in size a little bit, and I'm like, at this point, I need to find anybody.
Yeah.
And I end up walking down through CQB, down to Newtown, all the way down by the chopper.
That's where I saw you.
And I'm just like, hey, you, go do this. There were 2 people. I won't name and shame them, but there were 2 guys from a particular squad that I saw here that I was like, hey, I need you to go do something. And they were like, yeah, okay. And then I heard them say, we're just gonna do this. And I was like, dude, you're 10 feet away from me.
Yeah. Also, what's the point?
You're 10 feet away from me.
Just say no. It's an open play day. It's an open play day. Just be like, nah, I'm going to do my own thing. Hey, Roger that. You know what I mean?
At least tell me.
At least you don't have false expectations, and you're not like, okay, I sent 2 guys to go do this. Oh yeah, look at that.
Here comes Dookie Shoes.
Just tape lining it with fake cowboy. You know what's crazy is we had 4 guys, so there's definitely 2 guys that didn't have the app.
It took me till the end of the game to realize that you were Dookie Shoes.
Yeah, look at this. 1-1 in respawn as you're
It was
coming
perfect
up.
timing.
It was. See, second squad, the murderers just left as well.
Oh,
It was literally like if you were like 2 minutes earlier,
in any direction.
it would have sucked for you.
Yeah. So fake cowboy, he turns back south there because we stumbled upon the flight recorder
Yep.
just out on the path, and I was like, "Go take that, bring it back to RCP." And so I had 3 guys three total, me and 2 others. So obviously the other 2 don't have the app.
So I'm under so much pressure for the last 20, 30 minutes here. It's 13:11. That we knew where the flight recorder was.
Yeah.
We've known where it was the whole time.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to maintain positive field posture,
Yeah.
like with like the bottlenecks and like certain objectives on the field. And I'm just looking for somebody that I can be like, go get that and bring it back to me. Not that it would have mattered. You would have taken it from me at that point anyway when you rated the CP. But it was
It was
like
a pain in the ass.
it was like one of those things where it was just like that was like just hanging out there.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know that's worth something. I need to get it, but I can't.
Yeah, you don't have the
I
you don't have the
can't.
manpower at this point.
Yeah.
Well, we both don't.
Blip.
So the crazy part,
So
it just worked out.
So here, you want to see something funny? So if you look, you'll see my icon disappear.
Yeah.
It's because I heard you step on a branch and I closed my tablet because I didn't want it to get shot.
Yeah, we weren't being particularly quiet.
No, but it was,
It was also kind of hard to do, but
yeah.
so
So that's why I'm like gone.
well, we get up there and the whole time I'm thinking, I told the guys, I said, look at these guys.
Yes, I know.
Holy shit. So we took
Oh, there I am back.
we took your shit and they walked right by. We were able to safety kill the 2 guys, so you and 1 other that were in the base. So we never really had to fire a shot because I'm thinking I got the boss unit. Like as soon as I fire, dude, they're gonna be swarming this place. And so like best case scenario is that we knife kill everybody. You know what I mean? And it just so happened that we were able to safety kill everybody.
So-
Like holy shit!
so
It's
the
like,
guy-
take a shit.
The guy that I was with, like, looks over,
Yeah. you did.
sees, doesn't shoot,
Yeah.
pops back down, and I'm like, okay, maybe. And he didn't say anything to me.
Oh really?
Like I'm like, oh, maybe it was just whatever.
Yeah.
And then I'm just gonna keep looking through. He didn't say like direction where he saw you guys, nothing. And the next thing you know, a dude pops up over, safety kills him, and he has me dead to rights. I'm outside safety kill range. He gave it to me, and I was like, for a split second, I'm like, I could shoot him with this pistol,
Yeah.
but I don't want the smoke.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
because like it's just like one of those things where if I shoot him, I'm like the chances of him being by himself are slim to none.
Oh yeah.
And at that point, I'm just getting rolled.
I would have opened up. I didn't see you, but I would have opened up on the containers,
Yep.
and then the other guy coming around the
Yep.
left probably would have got you. But
So I took it.
it worked. That's the only way.
13-18. I'm walking back to respawn.
Is this Trash Panda
Yeah, that's
Yep.
Dan, that's Dan.
or Alex? Keep an eye on him. I think at this point he has the pilot, and he had to like literally sneak through you guys to bring the pilot all the way back to his HQ.
Let me see where.
Yeah, he
Holy
carried
crap!
it. He carried it by himself.
He's all the way down here where he finds the body at 13:15. By the way, so this is before or right
So
around when I
yeah.
just got killed.
Well, I just did because these guys are walking
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
So while that's happening,
There's some sneaky.
he's using his farm boy strength
For sure.
He's a small guy.
He does have farm
Yeah,
boy
oh,
strength.
yeah.
And he's dragging that wooden body.
Which is awkward as shit.
Yeah.
It also beats you up when you're walking. Like they're made out of 4x4s, so
Yeah.
like the legs are just beating the shit out of you while you're fucking carrying.
So
it.
he's dragging this thing from over by what is that, like the swamp?
It's like the helicopter.
Yeah.
the
it's
helicopter.
where Fort Kickass used to be, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's down there dragging the stuff back over by
Newtown.
there. And then watch, he's just gonna come right up through. You have guys here.
So that guy was in the bushes. Yep.
Look. And he's just
Look
coming
at
on.
the top of the hill there.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's waiting. He knows. He's plotting. Look at him. Or he's breathing.
Like he's just, oh, what? Nope, there's my move. Boing, boing, boing.
Holy shit.
Way to go, man.
Damn, he snuck right through lines. And I see now, like, you've got some players coming back on the field.
Yes.
We look pretty evenly matched, actually, in terms of, like, people using the app.
I remember this. Yeah.
Well, that's what happened. At this point, what time is 13:24 real time on this?
3:34.
Yeah. So towards the last hour of the game was when you kind of pushed us back, and then some people came back out onto the field.
That's 4:34.
Yeah,
Yeah.
4:34.
So
That makes sense.
some people came back on the field, and stuff started happening. And also at this point, I have started pulling you,
Yeah.
and I'm just walking around the field being like, oh, Sugar, your mom, right there, your mom. I'm pretty sure that's one of the girls that was playing.
Okay.
Because I remember at this point, I'm watching her here just throwing rounds at people as they're sticking their heads out of the CQB.
Yeah. Anthony, it's you.
Yeah.
Now you're dead.
I didn't die yet. I pulled back.
Oh, yeah, I see.
I was kind of a.
Dude, you are surrounded. Anthony is in CQB surrounded by red little
I was.
dots.
I was
Is he nub?
I
Yeah.
was in.
Tony knows.
I
Yes.
was in there watching them come down the hill, and I was like last standing it while the other blue guys that were in CQB were just like chilling back. They like had run out of ammo, and I told one of the guys, I was like, I need you to call him out. And what did he say? I was like, call him out and keep him down. No, whatever it was. And he didn't like know what I meant. So he was just like, no, I said, call him out and draw him in. I wanted him to like try to draw them in to CQB so that, because I couldn't do much when they were up on top of the hill. They actually had me pretty pinned.
Yeah.
It was when they started moving down, I was able to get them. And the guy was like, hey, you want to be friends? I was like, that's not what I mean by drawing them in.
So
I baked a birthday cake.
Yeah.
Is this the same guy we had to teach how to meow on the field?
No.
No? Okay.
let me back up for a second because. Okay, that's a little far, but. Yeah, so we're firmly fighting over
Oh,
this,
yeah.
right? So
No, when I pulled back, then I got killed in CQB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because
That
he's
was by
got
the OSCAM guys.
he's got a
yes,
Spartan
yeah.
squad in
So
there.
it's 1 and 2
Yeah.
that are there right now.
Oh yeah, you're thick.
Because I was like, this is the point. Like we have the mosque,
Yeah.
and I don't think some of your guys were showing up there because I know that we had to go through the mosque before I sent 1 and 2 to the center of CQB.
Yeah.
So shortly before this, you had pushed back to 1 objective away from my command point.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was like, whoever can hear me, like whoever can hear me on this radio, like we need to clear mosque and we need to take back CQB.
Yeah. So also right here, on the freeze frame, 13-2350. This element of 1-1, there was like 2 guys there, right?
Yeah.
We got killed 100 times because we came up and we did the old like, oh, this is probably clear. Nope, wasn't clear. 2 guys destroyed us 100 times. I made that walk. I did my 3-minute bleed outs and made that walk back to my respawn at least 3 times.
So
Like, holy shit, these 2 guys were just wrecking us.
So there were a couple people that I told squad leaders, I was like, look, whatever we can do to be like just a blocker,
Yeah,
like just
they did.
a delaying force.
They fucking did it. They did it well. I think I bypassed them at one point because I was like, fuck these guys.
Oh, look, you just killed them because now they're leaving. Bye bye.
No, I'm still down here.
Well, somebody killed.
Yeah, right on.
Dookie shoes.
Get wrecked.
Get wrecked, scrub.
I think I went down to check to see if our props are still there because I was like, he almost certainly sent guys down there. Captain Mac. Nice.
I did, but they just didn't give me anything somehow.
Nice.
I left it unguarded basically the whole time. Oh, this is my motivational. Like, come on, guys, only an hour left. Dig deep, dig deep.
I was bleeding out at that point.
Yeah, you're still up in CQP.
Yeah, so I mean, it's
Oh
interesting.
man,
So I think at this point,
still got 2 guys up there in mosque.
we took Newtown or are taking it. I'm working my way down there because I was like, when I went down there, I had no idea that there were people there. And on the map, it looked like they were just on the outskirts. I didn't realize there was such a off shift. So I was trying to get on the radio and be like, take the objective,
Like,
take
we're
the
on.
for the up, like you're there, you're right there. Just
So yeah,
take the objective.
at 450, you took Newtown and then started the timer on building 34.
Yeah. So
it happened quick.
I walked down there because I'm like, well, I got no gun. I'm just gonna go hit an egg timer and
right.
whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense because you guys owned the Southern gas station. So as soon as you guys took, those guys are probably in that building.
Yeah.
As soon as you took Newtown, you immediately started the timer on that. And then once I figured that out, I've like tried to storm people into Embassy just a block.
Yep.
I didn't even try to go for the Southern gas station.
So it's around this point, I think the two of us are hanging out down on the bottom of the field. And there was a squad of dudes rolling up and somebody just starts shooting at me. And like the BBs are just falling way short.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, I'll take it. Like there's all of you. I have nothing. Like I'll just take it. I'll start my bleed out.
Yeah.
So you really, hold on.
Yeah, Yubby is,
That's me.
you guys are just chilling.
Yeah, a bunch of my guys are going and trying to find the other pilot right now. You should.
Well, look at my respawn.
Yeah.
I think at this point, that's
Wow.
when I ended up just sticking with you.
Yeah. See,
The other
we're all
pilots.
coming out, and I'm like, hey, we
walked-
took contact, right? So
We walked into Fuel Depot and died.
yes, we did.
So you actually have a squad worth of guys right here.
Yeah, they're not on the app,
They're just not on the app.
which is a shame because it would have been nice to see
Yeah,
from a command standpoint.
like literally, you have a squad worth of people right by the helicopter.
Yeah.
Because they end up taking positions inside the helicopter at this point and exchanging fire with a couple of the dudes over in Newtown.
I think they were on the app. I think that's when I pulled the phone out of that girl's backpack so she could scan the QR codes.
They're not showing up.
They're not showing up, and
Oh wait,
because look, I think they bypass because I was like on the radio like, hey, we have to get to Embassy now, so we all kind of flooded Embassy. Yeah, see,
No.
Maybe we're a little early here.
Yeah,
we might be early.
because they do. I once I knew that we had it, I pushed guys into that tree line.
Oh no, we were early. It's this group here. Like, look, 19th
yeah.
Para and them, and they okay.
But I was like, yeah, we need to hold.
Here I go, walking back up. And at this point that I'm dead, for some reason, everybody that I haven't heard from the entire game are like, I'm just making up a number here, but it's like 7th squad to command. And I'm like,
I'm dead.
I'm dead. I'm not saying anything. I'm just walking. I got 1st squad, 2nd squad, 7th squad. Somebody was like, hey, this is so-and-so. And I'm like, where have you been? Like all day. And now that I'm dead.
Well, maybe the radio didn't have good range, and since you were kind of centrally located, you started picking up all the transmissions. Probably not.
No.
Yeah, probably not.
Walks faster to respawn.
Right. Well, look at it. I'm for all intents and purposes, I'm booking it back on the respawn because I'm like, I need to talk to some people. And as soon as I respawn, nobody talks to me again.
Nope.
And it's just like, what?
They probably heard nothing. They're just like, man, these radios suck.
No point in this.
Yeah. Radios are stupid. Command's not talking.
What is he even doing? Yeah, it was really funny. And now this is us duking it out over.
1407, 1407.30. This is when me and Anthony try to go around the lake here and just make something happen. Because at that point, squads were basic. It was like a militia.
Yep.
At that point, we're just like, what are you doing? Oh, like we were even pep talking some of your dead guys.
Thank you.
We're like, just stay on the field, please.
We were like, hey man, there's only 20 minutes left or whatever. You're still here and you're awesome. Like giving fist bumps and everything.
Your mom and the legal. I know exactly. Those are two guys, and they were like working pretty well as a buddy team.
Good.
So, but yeah. So this is. Look at you go.
Oh, you guys passed right over the pilot.
Oh, we did see it.
His feet were like half in the water.
Oh no, we didn't see it. Sorry.
Oh.
I thought
That's funny.
the one we saw
We
was
saw
inside
one pilot, and you were
embassy.
like, I know that's not it because all the pilots are wearing tan flight suits.
I helped Jordan move the pilots in there. I didn't put them in place. I helped them move them from,
I don't care, man.
and they had the tan flight suits, and we found one with green.
I mean, if this was a serious game, man, we'd be having some.
Right? Yeah. Right.
Come on now.
That could have been 200 points.
You've never. Whatever. I tend to get wildly competitive over the stupidest things, and I'm just gracious that right now Airsoft is not one of those stupid things.
It's fun. So yeah, we worked our way all the way around the
God,
lake.
look at you guys, just keep
Well,
going.
yeah, but look, we run into red,
His call sign is red.
and then now we're dead.
Oh, look, there's Trash Panda coming up. Coming up from
That's
the
a
rear
ref.
there.
Well, that's a ref.
Yeah,
I think he bled out.
that's when I
Trash Panda's not a ref.
I died in the
Oh no,
Connex.
that's yeah. Oh, that's right. That's
He
right.
is, but he isn't that day.
No, he did walk past.
I
us,
died
that's
in the
right.
Connex, and I was bleeding out there, yelling for a medic. And Josh, Ref Josh, was in there with another player, and they're trying to talk. And I realized in the Connex, if you yell medic really loud repeatedly, they can't hear each other talk. So, eventually Josh was like, "Anthony, I'm gonna fucking shoot you."
I was wondering why, because I died outside the Connex box, and I just hear Anthony
I
going,
wasn't even calling for a medic. I was just fucking with Josh at that point.
Yeah. In my head, I was like, why doesn't he just use the app? He doesn't need to yell.
In the spirit of the rules,
That's not communicating.
Nope.
I
He's
wasn't
calling for a medic.
I wasn't
Calling
really
for a medic.
gaming the game for
That's
any
game-
advantage. I was just fucking with Josh.
all right, man. So here's the deal. I'm a habitual line stepper in a lot of things when it comes to rules, and
Yeah.
like I'll be like, all right, letter of the law, spirit of the law. My foot can go right in between that, And so I get it. I mean,
That was trolling.
but that almost falls into the no medic category.
I don't know.
I'm not communicating.
But I'm
Sure.
playing devil's advocate
Yeah,
here.
that's
I'm
good.
just going. So by doing that, he's intentionally doing something other than calling for medic.
Good point.
Technically, but his
He's joking with Josh.
Yeah,
but
his-
no, but you're right.
doing something besides calling for a medic is still calling for a medic.
But he was doing it purposely to interrupt their communication. So the intention, his intention was poopy, but there's no way to measure anybody's intentions.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also not electronic warfare; it's physical warfare. Like,
Yeah,
Well,
but it's
maybe-
while, but you are physically doing an action while you were dead.
yeah,
bleeding
But he's
out.
calling for a medic.
While I was
Right.
But he's calling for a
injured.
medic.
No, like I said, I can appreciate that level of line stepping.
My app said injured. You're not showing the map. You're not showing what it said. Fake news.
I'm sad it doesn't show because I definitely use the app to call for a medic here, and I'm sad that it doesn't show. I'm sad it doesn't show like the
Hold the cursor over the.
go over Dookie shoes, see what it says. No,
Just
says
Dookie shoes.
Just
Not even Commander, Supreme Leader.
Well,
Dookie.
I've got the rank insignia.
Yeah, look at that star above your icon, brother.
Hell
yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother.
You are commander.
I got killed by Private Red over here though.
Here, he just got
Four
promoted
squad.
to Major. That's a Major Red.
Yeah,
Major Red Dickinson.
instant promotion.
good for you, Red. He murdered us, dude. He murdered the shit out of us.
We forgot to do the pinning ceremony at the end of the
Oh,
game.
that's right. Shit. But yeah, I mean, basically everything was kind of winding down after this, I think. I don't know that we did any other major.
No, you guys kind of held embassy the rest.
Yeah. And then I think all I remember is that at the very end of the game, I was inside of building 37 and I looked at my watch and started the timer and was like, there's 7 minutes left in the game. It's a 10-minute timer. Like there's no way I can't capture it anyway.
Hold on. You don't see him up. Yeah, so you see second squad lead up here at my CP. Some of those dudes are gassed.
Oh,
man,
sure.
At this point.
Oh,
I mean, they're gassed because as holes were developing, as numbers were dwindling.
Yeah.
Like first squad, second squad, again, because I could talk to them on the radio, I was giving them everything to do.
Yeah.
These guys were moving all over all day. And by this point, the last half hour, they're at half. They're a little more than half strength, right?
Yeah.
And of that half, there's like 2 or 3 guys that are like, we'll just stay here right now. And it's like, I get it, man. You're like, you're looking at them. They're like, you know, as red as like a red Christmas tree, like, you know, like, and they know how critical. I'm like, we have to get embassy.
Yeah.
Like to be remotely in the game, we have to get embassy.
Oh yeah.
And at one point, like I watched a few of their dudes shed their gear and sack up, and they're like, we'll go get embassy.
Yeah.
And them and one pushed on embassy. And at this point, you had all like, I'm a little in the future here, but I'm just kind of preempting.
Yeah.
You start the timer in 36.
Yeah.
They're still pushing to get embassy. They get in and they start the timer like a minute after
Nice.
you. And they gave it everything they freaking got. And I didn't have the heart to be like, you know, it was less than 10 minutes. We weren't going to get the points.
Yeah.
And there was no way I was going to be like, everything you did was for nothing because, you know, they got 30, you know, because Dave just started the timer at 36.
But the motherland salutes you.
No, 100%. Like that's like one of those moments where I live to play airsoft for that moment.
Sure.
Right. Where you're at the place, you're mentally like, I'm at my limit.
Yeah.
And then you say, you know what? I still got something left.
Sure.
And what they had left was enough to do what they set out to do.
Sure.
So those are the moments that I live. That's airsoft. That's like the moments that you live for.
It's kind of everything, right?
Yeah.
It's not the first 23 miles of a marathon or 22 miles of a marathon, right? It's the last one that really counts, you know?
So my neighbor is like my neighbor's a retired lieutenant colonel that was in the Rangers. What?
Well, I was like, I had like a dumb moment there. I was like, how many miles is in a marathon?
So one of my neighbors is retired lieutenant colonel from like the Ranger Battalion.
26.
And he would tell me 26 miles. Okay.
Damn it.
So he would tell me stories about like when they were doing Ranger school and selection. So they would make guys do like, you know, like the 30-mile freaking ruck run. The whole time the RIs, the Ranger instructors would be like, they would be giving them updates. 20 miles left, 18 miles left, 15 miles left, 10 miles left. And then they'd get down, they'd be like, 1 mile left, get going. That you can see the finish line. 1 mile, 1 mile, 1 mile, 500 yards. And like the RIs are really digging in at that point. And as soon as they cross, they go 1 more mile. And he said that was one of the that was one of the biggest fallouts that you would have outside of the first week that were going through it, because people would get their sight focused on the end mentally. They were digging deep. That's all they had to do. And then they were told, just push 1 more mile, and
broke them. Yeah.
Broke them.
Oh, that would be tough.
Broke them.
That would be tough. Like imagine at 6 o'clock, like the ref set off a siren. Oh, and it was like, oh man, we're like, actually,
the game's gone into overtime.
It goes to
1 more.
It goes to 11.
So
We're going into the night.
that's very similar to something I did to a kid one time at MSW.
Yeah.
So Dave will remember the original ball car AO, Mount Fuck Ass. There was a trail that went all the way to the top. I could not tell you how far of a walk that was up to the side of that mountain. The second year they did it there was a kid that was playing with the grommets, and he was like a pro B trying out. And I just like, I came back to the back of the pack. I was like, not in the PL position, but I was helping. And I was like, don't worry, man. Just around this bend, And I said that to him probably 15 times to the point where he looked at me at one point and goes, I don't know you, but I swear to God, if you tell me it's just around the bend one more time and it's not, I'm going to punch you in the face. And I looked over at Connor and I was like, I don't know if this is the last bend. And I was like, I'm a switch places with you. And I just fell back a little further.
Yeah, but see, you were doing it to actually motivate.
Oh yeah.
The whole setup of what those Ranger instructors were doing.
Oh yeah.
Was to freaking break those spirits.
Oh yeah, because they're looking for the guy that can push past that.
Yes.
Right. Like it's mental fortitude.
Yep.
Like your body will do what your mind tells it to, in most cases. So they're looking to see who's got that weakness in their brain, because in their defense, in their line of work, shit can go sideways at any point, anytime, ever, right? Like they're coming home from a mission, boom, they crash land. Now they're surrounded. You better have enough gas in the tank, mentally and physically, to go another 14 hours because now we have to walk out. You know what I mean? Like shit's bad.
I know, but that story has always stuck with me, right?
Sure.
Just like one of those things where it's, guys, just always be prepared to go the extra mile.
Sure. I mean, that's all about pacing and physical conditioning and preparation. You know, I mean,
and as I believe maybe it's not even the kids say this anymore because I'm so old, but built different.
Built different.
Some of that is
Built
some of that's in there. So anyway, let's get to the end of this because I feel like we're coming up to the end.
Yeah, we're rounded out.
25.
Yeah, that's the end of the game.
Yeah.
So
We got about a half hour left. I think. Yep. Yeah, we're right at the end of the game because I start. Well, this is when we keep dying at Fuel Depot.
Yeah.
Look at you. Still got a guy down here contesting my couple guys contesting my CP down there. Thank God for Nano down there. Nano putting in work.
That's the guy that
yeah, we can't really see a respawn.
fake cowboy is a real cowboy.
No, he's a real cowboy.
He's
now.
the real
Yeah,
deal.
He cowboyed the FO.
He's
call
John
sign-
Wayne, dude.
His call sign is just cowboy from now on.
Yeah, he graduated.
He's the real cowboy.
You can just see me and Anthony like go up, come back, go up, come back. Like,
Yeah, so they're trying to find stuff. I don't think they actually get there because if everything's offset as much as you think, your CP's actually over here.
yeah. These guys are kind of gassed, and so I was like, look, take a break, just take a break right here.
Yeah.
And so they held it for quite some time.
Yeah, look, well, there's the other remnants of first and second squad. They are taking that. God, we were so close.
This is when you and I cleared out Embassy.
Yeah.
We didn't even expect anybody there, and then all of a sudden Anthony's like,
Yeah, there's one 2 squad lead coming down from Fuel Depot. Look at that. And look at that. There's engagements going on all over the place.
oh yeah,
That's hard fighting right there.
I'm telling you. It didn't feel like looking at all the dots. It's like, man, there's a lot of attrition, but it didn't really feel like that. Everywhere we went was kind of. Yeah, this is where I ended the game.
Yep.
Everywhere we went was.
Yeah, hold on.
That's when I was flipping.
And there's me sitting by the exit, being like, "Come on, dude, just one more time, just 20 more minutes, 10 more minutes. Come on, just make it." And you'll see, like, watch. Hold on.
Oh, did you get him to turn around?
Yep. Because they were gonna call it.
Oh fuck yeah! Look at that. Way to go, one. Way to go, 1-1. Oh shit! He turned him right around. Holy shit!
Are you gonna look back on this day?
Yeah. On this regular open play day.
On this serious, like, and then he got this guy who I'm like, "Come on, dude, just last a little bit."
We kept telling people like, look, man, 15 minutes. Like, don't let 50. Fake cowboy was walking off, and I looked at him and I said, "There's 7 minutes left." And he's like, "You know what? You're right." And he came up and stood with me for 7 minutes.
That guy just left, and then this is this is where we're all going to kind of gather up there.
It's kind of the end of the game, but
I couldn't get him to stay like 8 minutes on the field. I said, "Just stand by me, brother. Don't walk off the field."
Yeah.
I feel like Crossroads had worse close spawn attrition than Milsim Day.
What do you mean?
Not Crossroads, Blood Diamond.
yes,
I feel like Blood Diamond had a much bigger drop off.
yes, for sure.
Yeah.
It's too easy. It's right there. It's too easy.
Blood Diamond's also a much longer game.
Yes. But I mean, final score 1,600 to 1,200. It's pretty close, and it looks like your top score is Meow22. Who's that?
That's probably the
No,
girl that I had to
that's
scan all the
you.
points.
I'm not Meow22.
No, that's Blue, your team. I'm
Oh
Red.
no shit. Yeah, sorry. Crucible 6, which is you. Hey, here you go. 300 points. Actually, one.
No, it's Trash Panda with 700. Way to go, Trash Panda.
That's Alex.
Yeah.
I don't like when staff affects the game like that. Even when they're playing.
That was just because he was the one that was standing there when Dan was like, "We need."
Yeah,
somebody to
yeah.
see."
This doesn't actually. This doesn't actually
So that
account
doesn't
for.
actually.
that doesn't
dictate.
reflect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Never
So
mind
like
that.
all of the point scoring for this is just like Dylan grabbing random player going, "Hey, do you have the app? Cool.
Scan this 6 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Scan this twice.
We need to
All
give
right.
your
I
your
think-
team 350 points, shit like that.
Can you inside the app, right? you as the game master, and then what'd you log them in as?
I logged him in as a game master.
Okay, so as game masters, can you assign points to a team?
Haven't tried that yet.
Yeah, because maybe that would be because it'd be cool. It would be neat, right? To look at this at the end of the day and be like, hey, 1-1. 1-1 scored 200 points. They're the top scorer on red or whatever. So this is like all convoluted.
Yeah, but even that, like this, look, man, like 1-1 could have scored the most points, but how do I? And there's no shade here, right? But how do I account for like 1-2 just doing all that work in the beginning of the game? That would reflect 0 in points.
You're right.
But that like
they did the job.
Like 1-1 did their job in getting the fuel depot in the beginning, and 1-2 did their job by holding off that entire
That's
left
pretty
side
Milsim,
flank.
though. They're just special ops. You don't talk about
no
it.
recognition.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting
But you
promoted.
know what I'm saying. So yes, this is fun. This is nice, and I'm sure maybe if we had like objective boxes and it keeps track of all that, it would make a difference.
Well,
but
it would make a difference if the physical flag positions were dictating points in terms of when you captured them.
that's what I meant. The objective boxes.
If those were actually like accumulating you points when you took it, then the player that took it would get the points. But
Yeah.
we don't have a way to currently geofence
Yeah.
on
This-
result.
We will by Crossroads, but not.
Yeah,
not
but
this
that's
one.
also that's a lot of money and that's big scale.
I know.
So it's
I know.
not worrying about that right now.
But I will say this, dude. Everybody that stayed to the end, we actually took a picture of everybody, all the survivors, right? Great job. It was tough. I mean, we were fighting 2 fights, right? We were fighting dehydration and weather, and we were also fighting the other team. And the guys that stayed, they earned it. Everybody earned it. Who was there? We waited for Mojo to come back. But I think it was great. I think it was a great first application. Great first Milsim day. I would really like to get some players to be commanders because
Yes.
Brian's very talented. He knows what he's doing. I have home field advantage, like super hardcore. So it's like I had to go walk back and get my my speed loader.
That's got to be a long walk at that point.
Especially
of the day,
at that point, dude.
God.
Fuck.
At that point, I'd be like, maybe I'll get it tomorrow before.
I did drop my gear before I went back,
okay.
but I was like, holy shit. It was tough. That was a tough walk. That was a walk of shame for sure. But it would be cool to get player commanders.
Yeah.
Right. Because then they can make mistakes or learn on the fly. Whereas we both kind of have the knowledge already there, like ready to go, which could create way more breakthroughs and much more dynamic play.
I'll say it again. If there's anybody out there that's even remotely interested, send something on the socials or find me, go to the Discord, whatever. I'll have you as my XO for the next event, and I will let's do this thing, right? Because
I can do the same, right? Like kind of take somebody underneath our wing and show them what we're doing, show them how we're reacting and how we're using terrain features and how we're communicating, how we're setting up our squads, how we're communicating with squads. What's the overall game plan, you know? The trick to really all of this is that, which isn't common for a regular open play day, right? The trick to this is putting a little thought into it before the day of. Like, really, that's it. We both saw the map kind of at the same time, so we both saw the capture points at the same time, and so inherently, whether we sat down and put pen to paper or not, we were thinking about this beforehand, right? And I think if you want to be an XO or a potential commander in the future, that's all you got to do. Like the day before, look at the map, because I feel like posting the map and game type before is great. Gets everybody kind of in that mentality, right? All you got to do is think about it for an hour. Yeah. Come up with a plan and stick to that plan, even if it's a bad plan. Stick to the plan. If you think of a better one 10 minutes from now, perfect. Do that one. You know what I mean?
I'll be honest. I told you in the morning, I was like, dude, I'm really not feeling it today. Right? I had a super rough week. I looked at this map and I was like, oh, I'll figure that out on that day.
Yeah.
But it's like you said though.
But it was in your head.
I've done stuff like this to where like I'm just coming off of Blood Diamond, right? So I'm coming from your position.
Yep.
So all I'm doing is like, well, what would I be doing? And that's all I said. What would I do? Where are the hard points? Where are the weak points?
Yep.
You know, if I'm at the hillside, top of the hill spawn ever again for something else, I'll probably put a little bit more effort into CQB faster.
Yeah.
because
Secure that foothold.
that ridge line,
It's a barrier.
Sucks.
It's a barrier.
it
And-
sucks.
Yeah.
It's like, right, I know we're not doing sustain for the field. That sucks for
Yeah,
the field.
It does. And I've also got
An idea.
I know you have ideas.
I've
So
got plans to remedy or to help remedy that because I recognize that too. That's a giant dead space. Even with the fighting holes, it's a giant dead space.
if you put a strong enough force here, you can essentially shut down anybody from coming down the hill's ability to get past.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. That's why at Blood Diamond, I was at the African Village Fuel Depot, and I started out here. But when I realized how easy when we pushed in and we had you held, I was like, okay, this is my line, and I held that line all day.
Yep.
Just like that. So
It's definitely a weak. It's not really a weakness of the field. It's a challenge for any commander that starts up here, which is kind of why when I'm commanding, I always put myself up there because I know that.
I kind of want to do it again from that side. To be honest with you,
Would
but
you ever?
Well, hold on.
Lucky for you.
well,
Real quick. Before we get into like the sustains and stuff that we have, and then also the player-driven ones, let's take a break.
Yes.
I gotta
Yep.
make a pee-pee. Jesus.
Are we back?
Are we back?
All right.
Can we be back right now?
And
Yeah.
and we're back. Oh, that was weird. And we're back. Okay, so let's get into some of the sustains and
Improvement.
improvements.
I haven't improved.
Okay, relax.
It was too hot.
It was a little warm.
Fix that.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if you preemptively looked at any of the ones on the.
No, not yet. But let's do ours first, and then we'll get into the players' submitted ones. So my first one, which became, excuse me, I'm like burping while I'm trying to talk. My first one that became apparent very quickly was that we can't have a CP or spawn point in the south of the field because of the high tension power lines.
Yeah.
My phone just stopped working. I had to like move forward. So my suggestion would be to play the field east to west. And I know what that means. I know that means whoever's on the east side, it's an uphill fight all day.
But whoever's on the west side has to walk uphill back to respawn.
Sure.
Yeah.
You might be fighting uphill, but like if you have Newtown is easy to defend. Once you have CQB and your enemies are coming from uphill, that's easy to defend.
Well, we could try a format of this game where one team CP is Newtown and the other team CP is African Village.
But still, you're a little bit further away.
Yeah.
You could probably do that.
There's a potential there. The issue comes in because we've tried this before with Conquest running east to west is the respawn. Now, that might not be such a big issue if we're doing advanced and secure.
Well, but we might not want to do that, right?
make whoever I'm playing against respawn right at the entrance to the field, please. Like
My
right,
secret
like,
weapon.
like right there in the middle of like where you walk up, where it says
Brian, how come you're cooking chili and just like
Brian's
smell
actually
chili?
just
just
psyoping
block
the
off
other
the exit until the game's done.
Why are you slow roasting meat on a fire? Nobody's gonna eat that down in staging.
Yeah.
with my command in a box right there, playing from the bar.
I think, I mean, we could probably mitigate that with like a mobile hotspot, maybe. But even then, the hotspot has to have signal. So I don't know what the solution is there.
Starlink.
Well, you also what's your
think you can balance.
provider?
Verizon.
Mine is Verizon, so I don't know if it's just but I know that the high tension power lights have something to do with it because I run into that a lot.
When I was I have T-Mobile. When I was over there for Blood Diamond, I was fine with my phone.
So maybe it's just my carrier.
Maybe.
Yeah, but Verizon's really popular in this area. So
Yeah, because Verizon used to be the best in the area.
Used to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
So because of that, a lot of players have Verizon. So this is a problem for us. It's a problem for everyone.
Yeah.
I miss having AT&T. AT&T did really well.
Can you hear me now?
Ooh, got him.
I miss AT&T. AT&T did really well over here.
No, that was a play on. It was
I got it.
yeah. Thank you.
All right. But it's nothing that I couldn't just improvise, adapt, and overcome. Again, it just means that I couldn't just sit in my CP like I want. I wanted to play the commander role and give the players a reason to come to the CP to
Yeah.
get missions and shit like that.
But that could be an issue for the player commander. That's
Yes,
why that's
absolutely.
something that needs
Yeah.
to be addressed, whether it be having a mobile hotspot or moving the respawns. Because even then I was like, oh, we can move down to Dirty Mike's. You're still next to
What
the
about
fucking
behind
power
it?
lines.
Yeah,
That's what I was
exactly.
thinking. Behind it.
Behind the power lines?
No, not behind the power. Behind Dirty Mike Shack, but you're still close
like
to the
up in
power
the
line.
hill?
I mean, even
Up in the hill by Old
Like,
Chapel?
yeah,
Potentially.
Yeah, kind of.
the problem with Chapel is that you're wide out in the open, so you can be spotted from a long way away. So people can. It's like having free intelligence.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really easy to.
It's not
If
fantastic.
you were down
Like,
there, it'd be really
the top
easy
of the
to
trail respawn
outmaneuver.
is very fledged out. And well, there's also a potential if we keep the top of the trail respawn and then still put one team spawning out at, say, Newtown, and we have them spawn on the same side of the field.
I tried that one time
Didn't work well.
for an event, but not separated by that much. I think I did one at Newtown and one at like Chapel area, and all the objectives were this way. And I thought that would allow for a lot of freedom of moving up here. It didn't. They all just turned north and south and fought each other right here for 7 hours. And I was just like, oh, fancy. All
Yeah,
right.
that's not great.
Like nobody gave a shit about the fragos. They were just like, I need to get my YouTube flips or whatever the fuck.
Shitball.
However, doing it that far apart,
You're
I don't
still
know.
gonna, you're
It-
still going to run into the issue of the.
it's too
Well,
easy.
hold on. Let's just put it like this: if I was here and you were here, we're both going right for the castle,
For sure.
and then we're going.
subsequently there, yeah.
And then from the castle, we're going to the gas station. And then I'm trying to, my goal would be to push up the African village again.
Sure.
Right? I may even have people just go all the way over there immediately. Because it would almost be equilateral on a triangle. You would have a shorter distance to.
If it's too tricky to switch the spawns, maybe switch the format.
Well, that was going to be my next.
So it's more conducive to the spawns we're using.
That was going to be my next suggestion. Right? Is I did a World War II event one time. It actually ran pretty well because the World War II crowd is super easygoing and they're actually a lot of fun to deal with. Besides all the Nazi overtones,
Yeah, I heard that's why a field lost part of their property.
I don't know why sometimes the OP4, I'll call them, is way too into the role, and you're like, why? But whatever. But the way it worked was that the invading team started down here, and the game progressed uphill. Right now, again, the invading team has a much tougher time. So basically, they had think about it like Rush.
Yeah.
So they had 2 objectives to capture, and that required a process. And those were the only 2 objectives in play. And then when they captured those 2 objectives, boom, you could change the map. Boom, 2 more pop up that nobody knows about until maybe the defending team has a heads up, but like the attacking team doesn't realize what they are until boom, they pop up. And so that fight happens. So because our field is very tiered, right? You get the lower field, the middle field, the upper field, right? So then the game progresses up the hill.
Yeah.
It does kind of stink, right? Because I don't enjoy defending
No. And now you're going to be defending for 4 hours.
for 4 hours, right?
Yeah. And I'm going
I
to
would
make it
rather
so
be
you have
attacking.
to, you're going to have to hold that objective for 20 minutes or 25 minutes to
Yeah,
capture.
exactly.
Because in Rush, it takes 90 seconds. In Airsoft, I'm going to extend that to 25 minutes.
Sure, right?
The way you work around that is you have different frags for the defending team that allow them to be offensive.
Potentially, yeah. That's
Right.
something
So that
where-
way, even though it's a defensive action,
Yeah.
like let's say we're in the middle part of the field, right? There's an offensive frag order only for the attacking team. Their only job is just to keep pushing up.
Yeah.
They could still lose. You'd have to figure out a way where they could still lose by taking the whole field if the defending team is doing all of these secondary objectives.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the points start. Yeah.
and working it in some way there where the defending team's rewards for some of these will be an EMP that will then wipe the attacking team's ability to use the app.
Yeah, I mean, we used to play a game called Operation Guiding Light. I talked about it the last time
Yeah.
we were on here, right? It was the World War II storming the beach in Normandy, where for the first 5 hours of the game, you were just trying to cross an open field and go up a steep hill, right? Where there was defensive positions on top of the, on top. And it was again, the game has changed a lot since then, but it was a wildly popular event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it was hard.
That's something
Yeah.
that we could
Yeah.
work in, because there's also a version of this where it's just base assault all day, where the flag points don't matter. It's just going to be capture points and making sure your CP is actually, or not capture points, it's going to be side missions and making sure your CP doesn't get overrun.
Maybe, right? I feel like there always needs to be an overall, like a background,
Yeah.
Territory control.
something like that, right? Just to keep the kittens focused. Because, I mean, realistically, that could just boil down to, gameplay only happening in 2 parts of the field,
That's a potential problem.
right? And then everything in between is just logistically moving through it to get to those 2 parts of the
Yeah.
field. But you know what?
But if we're cultivating a community where it's more Milsim minded, right? You're going to find people that are going to come out, or groups of people that come out, like the
Yeah.
couple squads that you had, the
Yeah,
few that
yeah.
I had, right? Where even if like it boiled down to a huge fight in CQB City, those guys would be happy as horse crap, right? As like to be able to maneuver
Yeah.
and capture different objectives in different parts of the field. So in one way, we're almost giving the open day players exactly what they want by having a hot spot all day.
Yeah.
And you can cater towards like the teams who want to do cool guy stuff, where it's maneuver, secure stuff behind enemy lines, right?
Yeah.
Things of that nature. I'm not
Again, these are all possibilities, because
Yeah, potentially.
like Dave talked about in the beginning of the podcast, there is a very large Google Doc with a lot of ideas on it.
Yeah. It's quite a bit.
But in terms of sustaining improvements, figuring out how to mitigate the power lines issue, that's a big one.
Yeah. The other thing too is, I feel like we had really good participation in terms of using the app,
Yeah.
Yes.
but I feel like a little bit more would be better.
Yeah, and
I'd say 50% actually like logged in and used it. Another like 20% logged in, threw it in their backpack and never touched it again. And then there was another 30% that just never even downloaded it. Right.
And-
at least if it was on and it was in their backpack, we could still track it.
Sure, right.
At least that.
And like we had talked about in the parking lot, we can't quite force players to
No.
use it. We can't say, hey, it's mandatory, you have to use it to play this game. Like,
Sure.
we can't do that.
Yeah.
Eventually, when we have the Ares Alpha props, where then the entire game is based off of the props.
It's carrot and stick.
Yeah,
Then
exactly.
it's kind of
Yeah.
like, sure, you're not using it, but if you want to participate, then you have to use it.
Well, it's okay too, because this was iteration number 1.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now players understand the expectation. They understand it's going to be physically demanding. They understand that the app is useful. So then the next one, maybe we'll get 51%. The
It's-
next one, 52%.
Yeah, it's all going to be iterations, right? It's going to be slow growth, adoption, because you had how many people? We had how many people? 120-ish,
130.
130. You probably have 500 individuals that cycle in through the field, like separate individuals,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Because
It's a little bit more than that, but yeah.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
like
It's a lot.
So I'm just thinking, like, if you have so many people that I hate putting it like this because it sounds speedbally, but like in a season of people, you'll be lucky if you cycle through
Sure.
all of your people once
Yeah.
or twice.
Very true. We do have a very high return rate, but you're right. You're right.
So it's going to be like next year after Blood Diamond or whatever, because that's almost a year. That'll be almost a year since implementation of this. At that point, you can do a real look behind and say, hey, this is what our growth is. This is how it's gone.
Yeah.
For the next 6 months, 12 months, whatever, it's just going to be like every time we do this, it's going to be going through at least the same growing pains with individual players.
Yeah.
Right. We on the back end, we at the 30,000 foot overview may have our stuff more together, but the individual players won't. It's going to be in the corporate world, right? They say it takes 18 months to change culture,
Yep.
right? And that's probably what we're looking at for this as well.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Sure. Not only that, but I mean, you got new people coming in all the time. So
Right.
It's going to be, it's not a problem. Right. And I don't
No,
want,
not at all.
I don't want people to think that we're framing this as a problem. It's not. Right. It's just us vocalizing the logistical challenges and issues that we're going to have in the future and how to mitigate that. And also acknowledging that new people coming in all the time, we're going to have to explain this shit better, which just means that we need to come up with a better system, a more streamlined system to onboard new players. That's
Which Ares Alpha is already very fast. to
Oh,
do
it's super
that.
easy.
Yeah. I literally like rental players were signing in for the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the player perspective, like for their first time, if they're not taking on any leadership roles or medics or anything like that, all they have to do is create an account.
Yep.
That's it. They can create an account, scan in, that's it.
Yeah.
I would say, and check the phone a couple times a day.
Yeah. Make sure it's not running in the background.
You know, like that's because some of my problems
Yeah.
were because I feel like a lot of people did just that.
Yeah.
They created an account, they signed in,
And never
that
checked
was it.
Yeah. No,
Because
I get that.
It was, but again, this is just, it's just culture. It's community building, right? It's going to be, you know, whatever. And again, I just want to echo on Dave's point, man. This is that we're under no circumstance. I may have done shots fired for stuff, but I'm doing this in jest. I'm doing this in like, hey, this is actually, you know, it's kind of funny. But the more that you buy in general with this, the better experience you are going to provide for everyone that's playing the game.
Yeah.
Because if you're buying in, it helps the people that are in your immediate squad, because it helps me as the commander be able to get you into the places that may be cool or doing different things. And it elevates the level of everyone, right? So it's not, I'm trying to say there is some responsibility for the individual.
Yeah.
Right. But not being like shame, you know, screw you, because, you know, but yeah, man, there's so many cool things that we can do with this.
Yeah. And you know, integrating the props as well, it just makes all capturing stuff less intense for the staff, which means they can focus on other things. And those can be changed and moved and whatever. I mean, even in this format with the AAS, if that's what we wanted to do, which I'm not even sure that's what we want to do, we can move those wherever. So
Right.
each time you come, it's a different experience.
Well, not only that, but like some of these props are literally on global SIM cards, right? So they're going to be updated. So there's going to be ways that the objective can move live on the field,
Yep.
yeah.
and it would be reflected in the app.
Yep.
Right? You could do like, I'm not saying we would, but you could do almost like a secure the convoy that's moving
Yep.
and give you opportunities to set up like ambush on like, you know, whatever's happening for an objective that's moving around the field.
Yeah.
You know, so there is so much more that can be done, but the more that the incentive for Dave and the guys here for the field is to invest into that. There needs to be a certain percentage of buy-in from the players.
Sure.
Right.
Participation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
you're
doing my thing.
Well, no, it's
For
funny
what's going
because
on.
I know we haven't gotten there yet, but a lot of the Instagram comments for Sustain and Improve are specifically about not enough people using the app.
Well, look, do you have anything else?
I actually I submitted it. on
Okay.
the-
Yeah.
Do you guys
So-
have anything else?
So a player brought it up to me, and I like the idea of entertaining it for the next one, especially if we're going to run with the AAS format, potentially implementing a mobile respawn as a prop.
Yes, it could work.
So here's my experience. Here's my experience with mobile respawns. They breed laziness, dude.
Yes.
And not only that, they act as that extra mile, and I'll tell you why. So we do have some mobile respawn props. They have a clay pigeon holder. So as long as your clay pigeon's intact, you can respawn there. But if an enemy player shoots it and breaks it, it's no longer, right? And I've literally watched this. Players go up to the mobile respawn, see that it's disabled, and they'll do one of two things. They'll do the look over the shoulder, right? Or they'll walk off the field because they're like, I'm not walking all the way back to my respawn.
Yeah.
So it gets fixed.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just say, instead of what I gave you to look for me,
Yeah.
give it to him. Let's get a prop or two. You put the shoot target on it, and that way you would have on your field whether or not your mobile respawn
So you could
is
see it.
able to be respawned at or not.
Yeah.
And most of my personal like improvements of it for the entire game come down to the logistics of the app. And it's just
Yeah.
making it more streamlined so that I can figure out a way so you guys see who's in control of what at any given point in time. So I'm not just texting it to you.
Yeah.
On top of potentially figuring out a way to have the objective pop up on everyone's map, not just like if we can fix the mission set area, that's fantastic. That's really what I want to improve on with it.
I don't know if I would want every one of my players to get the mission to pop up
I don't know.
because
I feel like the more information
if
the
you-
player has, the more involved he feels.
But if you have the comm issues he was having, and he can't talk to that squad, he can potentially have all of these squads see the mission and then all of them go to it.
Yeah. So my improvements are personally on my end. It's like I said, I'm going to invest a couple $100 in radios and hand mics.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's
And the only other I thought the game went fantastically well.
Yeah.
Like the improves are just like what we were talking. It's the same stuff we've been talking about for weeks. Maybe the spot in between the CQB and the ridge that kind of stinks. I wish more people could use the app, which sounds like it's
Pretty ubiquitous.
pretty ubiquitous there.
These improves are just to make it better.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think the sustains are we need to try to continue to think outside of the box when coming up with game modes, because I mean,
Sure.
I don't think you've ever done anything like this at the field before.
Nope. This was a test run.
Super cool. The other sustains we have is you had not for nothing, you had these two guys put together something that kind of stretched their creative muscles a little bit. Give them a little bit more free reign, because again, props. It was really cool. So
I also say sustains squads that stuck together, players that just stayed on till the end, players that brought water and ammo and things to their respawn and relied on their respawn to resupply instead of going back to staging. And that's a sustain for the players. Like, keep it up, you guys. Honestly, because that was the difference between winning or losing. It was who stayed on the field. And
because you saw what happened when my people walked off the field.
Yeah.
Like when they left, it left the gates wide open for Dave to then.
We got all the way to the mosque. That's right.
Yep.
But then you guys came back and you put, you know what I mean? So I feel like at the end of the game, we were pretty evenly matched. I mean, granted,
Again,
there was like 15 on each team.
It was the perfect level of attrition from both teams to keep it balanced.
Actually,
it's
that's
not always so balanced.
There was a couple moments where it was like we were down here and then you were down, and but it evened out. I'm gonna plug the Discord for a second here. One of the things that I'm gonna do, because I'm thinking about this now, especially with your comments, in the task force crucible section, I'm gonna come up with like, hey guys, if we're gonna do a Milsim day and you're planning on these are some good items to have for the day. Make sure you're bringing a gallon or two of water out. Bring something that you can snack on, but isn't gonna be like
a lead weight in your belly.
Yeah. Just simple stuff like that, where it's like, hey, let's let the mission be to stay on the field. Sure. And these are great items to have. So
we can do tips and tricks shorts too for Milsim Day.
Yeah.
You're like, this is Richard. On Milsim Day, he's going to bring up a case of water, a speed loader, and extra BBs.
Did you see what I put in the Discord last night?
No.
That short.
No.
I guess one player on the field was just.
Oh, I did see that.
He puked and rallied. He puked. His buddy came over, rubbed his back. He was like, "Thanks, man," and he just kept playing.
That's dangerous though.
Yes, it is.
It's really dangerous. He was also wearing a ton of gear.
Yes, he was, I think, dressed in all black.
Yeah, he was kidding out. He had all his kit on.
Vomiting is a symptom.
Yes, that is like third, fourth.
Yeah, it's pretty far down the line.
You're down the line there.
Once you're at that point, maybe you should walk off.
Yeah, but let's get into the players submitted. Let's see what they got going on there.
Like I said, they're all on the same page.
That's all right. We'll go through them.
First one, everyone needs the app, and everyone needs to stop being bitches and leaving the field.
Oh, okay.
That was from Mitch.
I don't know if it's being bitches, but just being more prepared, I think, is what he meant to say.
This one, you guys will
Be a Mitch,
probably.
don't be a bitch.
I already know my take on this one. I'm pretty sure I know yours too. Instead of it being one big game, it should be two shorter games in the summer that are connected because water.
Nope.
That's
not the point.
Nope, that's not the point.
The whole point is to push and test yourself. And the weather, like, look, it was hot. It wasn't 100 degrees.
No.
It was high 80s. Maybe it touched 90. That's not.
It's 3 months of the year.
I know that in this part of the world, like high 80s. Like my phone all week was like extreme heat. Like that's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's not extreme heat, dude. If it's not 104, it's not fucking extreme heat, right? It's just a little hot out. It's summertime. You know what I mean? And I'm not calling you a bitch for like that comment or anything, but what I am saying is you can acclimatize to anything. I went to Iraq, dude,
Wait
with
till we do
80% humidity and like an average temperature of 98 degrees.
Yeah, that's like my buddies would tell me when they went to Okinawa.
Right? Like you can get used to anything. And that's the whole point is to push yourself a little bit each time. Like maybe this time you lasted 2 hours and that was like enough for you. Maybe next time last 2.5 hours. And then the next time well, some people can't push themselves like that, right? Like baby steps, right? That's the whole point. So if we pull back on that, then all we're doing is saying by fucking
Nice.
it's not helping you if we nerf it.
Yep.
So
Also,
Do I
you
have to-
probably
do I have to- yeah, okay.
You're gonna have
That's
to
why when I was like, oh, that's where the cut is.
Yeah, you're gonna have to bleep all that. You have to bleep that too.
I know.
Let's just give him a bunch of shit he has to bleep. But no. If we
unless they're
I want you to just everything for the next, so that way horrendous.
yeah, right. Yeah. But it's if that's us moving the goalpost in. You know, we don't want to do that. We're trying to create something very specific here, and that's basically a group of people that when we do our large events understand the assignment. Their intestinal fortitude has been tested, and their mentality is right. That way, our large scale events, the all day events, and potentially maybe in the future going all the way into the night,
Or 2 days.
well, it's tough, but yeah, like 2-day events, like.
I mean, if Lion's Claw can do a 2 day event.
Yeah, I know, right? Then we know that we have a player base that can do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, my take is this. I understand the sentiment.
Yeah.
Right. But no.
No,
Like,
I mean,
seriously,
You
but
had
no.
the exact
Like-
response I knew he was going to have.
Yeah, you have to push yourself, and that doesn't mean that we're forcing players to stay on the field and vomit and all this shit.
No.
Get to your limit, take a break.
I mean,
All we're asking is that you take the break in your CP and not.
the beauty of Milsim
let's-
Day is that you can take that break, and it's not like you paid $200 for that ticket
Correct.
to do
Right.
it. It's open play, but
Well,
there's this longer game.
let's
and
bring.
Yeah.
I want to bring it back around to something that I actually that we saw and discussed earlier. Right. We had dudes hanging out at the CP.
Yep.
Right. And they were taking their break. That's legit. To say that, hey, I just need to come back here and sit down for a while.
Yeah.
That's totally legit. You're not weaker. You're not less because you're doing that. This is not high speed indoor CQB for 8 hours out on the field. This is a different animal.
And to
right now.
that point, some people have told me that they're like, man, I would love to go to like a Milsim West or like a larger AMS event, but I just can't because of travel or whatever. And they're also like, I've never done it before. So they're like, I want to do Milsim Day because this is like a good stepping stone into it. And I got to say, if you go to Milsim West or if you go to AMS, there's downtime.
There's a
Oh
lot.
yeah.
There's a lot. And like you can't do a 40-hour straight thing without some downtime.
Yeah,
like
you can't.
we cut it pretty close at one of them,
Yeah.
but like it was rough. It was
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah.
And
You don't have the ammo to do it.
Well, we're also doing smelling salts on the 2-hour drive back to not fall asleep.
Yeah,
Like, there's-
exactly.
But I mean, like, that's the whole thing, right? Is that what we're doing right now for Milsim is pushing the edge of
That's it.
combat intensity.
Yeah.
Like for sustainability, right? Because I've done events where it was 12 hours straight, a couple hours where it was like a little dead time, and then it kicked up again. And dude, that's brutal, man.
Yeah.
That's that level of sustained engagement, be it mentally, physically, whatever. That's a hard thing to do.
yeah, also the team that can within this, what is it, a 5-hour game?
4.
Within that 4-hour Milsim Day game, all right? The team that can do rest rotations but also stay on the field are going to have a huge leg up over the team that just tries to power through it, and they get tired and they attrition out.
Yeah, the attrition real bad.
Yeah.
It's really, it's,
But yeah, I don't,
So
yeah.
I don't think we
let's,
should.
let's put this into perspective.
Yeah.
Because this was a 4-hour game, we were just asked to have 2-2-hour games.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
That's ridiculous.
No.
Yeah, no. That's
That doesn't make it much
This
better.
is already, in my opinion, a 4-hour
Sure.
game is already just a half of a full event.
If a game is
Yeah.
going good after lunch, it's most likely going to get stretched to closely 2 hours.
yeah.
yeah.
And it's also a lot less walking than if you go to an actual Milsim event.
Yeah.
You know,
I did about 9 miles. Yeah, you're
we
probably
do
right.
a lot of walking,
Yeah.
but the walking you do the walking we did for Milsim Day was like action, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas you're not just rucking up a mountain to just find a place to put your stuff down.
Yeah.
You know?
Just around that bend.
But I think we're beating a dead horse now.
Yeah.
But I think that if we make this 2-hour things, we are going against our core principle and the reason why we're doing this. Now, keep in mind we're only doing this like once a month, right?
Yeah.
Like every other weekend, it's going to be regular open play.
The other day of the same weekend is going to be regular
Yeah,
play.
exactly. So and this is one of the beautiful things about this, right? Okay, so everybody's done the first one. So now they know there's going to be like two types of people, right? Well, three really. The guys who stayed on the field and loved it and had a great time. There's guys who pushed themselves but maybe tapped out or at the 2-hour mark, and then there's people that were just like not my thing. These are all good things, right?
It's fine.
That means that the next time, the people that more of a percentage of people that show up understand what it's about. And if they don't like it, they'll come on Sunday. If they do like it, they're all in. If maybe they tapped out halfway through, they know that they need to either prepare better or push themselves a little bit more.
Yep. And then when it's time for an op and people are deciding whether or not they want to attend it, if they don't like Milsim Day, then they know they're probably not
Right.
going to like the op, and that saves the tickets for the people that'll like it.
Correct.
Yep.
And it saves money in the pocket for
Yeah.
people that show up and they're like, this isn't my thing. And then they're bitter about it when they walk away.
Sure. And it only means that the right players are in the right place at the right time, which means that our ops become way more dynamic. Like because we got hard chargers on the field, right? Whether it's some guy who only comes out for Milsim days and that's his training, or it's some guys who only like ops, but like the people who are like, yeah, not my thing, they probably won't show up, which means like the two teams on the field are on the field.
Yeah.
It's going to be a slugfest.
It's a distillation process
Yes,
is what's
exactly.
happening, right? And again, there's nothing wrong. Not every bit of airsoft is everybody's cup of tea.
Sure,
Period.
for sure. But all right, what do we got next?
Next up.
I don't know why I like looking at the map.
Okay.
yeah.
So
There's been
more
so
of this-
many times in this podcast where you're like, yeah, and this is what we could do here. And there's no way
Yeah, I
we're going to
know
be able to
that.
translate
Yeah, I know.
that later.
I know.
So more of the same. Require everyone to have the app. That way, there's more accurate representation of where the players are on the field. But it was a very fun day and cool concept.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of forcing everybody. Again, it's an open play. This is all voluntary.
The only thing you could do there is just make access ease of ingress better. Print up a poster that has the QR code for the Android app and one for the iPhone app, and you just have somebody scan it, boop, and then you can get it done. That's as close to requiring it.
You'll
that
like
you
this
can
one.
get.
Have a physical map. Have physical flags. Sign for denoting the HQ and the CP. Also, the phone signal sucked in Vietnam.
That was mine.
That was
Yeah.
your man.
Well, so because the phone signal sucked, it would have been nice if there was a physical sign, or you know how you do like respawn flags. If there was some physical thing to denote what the CP was, and also just physical maps that people could keep on them, I think it would help. It doesn't give you the battle tracking, but at least it gives. It's just a redundancy to give people a sense of where they are and where they might need to go.
So the physical map is A, represents cost. B, why would I use the app if I have a physical map?
Redundancy.
Yeah, but
But
nobody's.
you're right. I mean, it's just for that one part of the field where the signal really
Yeah.
sucks. So
I mean, there is also a little bit of player agency, right?
Yeah.
Like anybody can print up the map and fold it up and put it in our pocket.
Sure. Yeah, and he posted the map before the Milsim Day. Anyways, people could have screen grabbed that and got it. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to print out maps like once a month every time.
tips and tricks. Print
Yeah.
out a map.
Yeah, I mean maybe one day when we start incorporating possibly like the mortar and we need grids and stuff. Maybe I'll print out enough for squad leaders, you know what I mean, or forward observers, because again the whole point is to create roles for, reasons for roles. So like maybe that would be something,
Yeah.
or engineer, whatever. But I'm not going to print up maps.
I just had an Anthony moment.
Yeah,
You just saying printing out the stuff for the squad leaders. I really just want to say it's awesome that the app delineates responsibility to the squad leaders for getting their guys signed in.
Yeah.
And thank you. Even if you left after an hour, if you were a squad leader, thank you for getting your guys checked in on.
Yeah. No,
So
yeah.
that was huge.
It's perfect for, what's the right word?
Delegation.
Right? Because then it gives us a reason to do our thing. What's that? What's the next one?
The next one, this is actually the last one we got on Instagram. For someone's first Milsim experience, this was fun, but people are so lazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that the guy who was
Maybe.
he was like, this is my first time playing Airsoft?
But no, because this dude also messaged us on May 2nd asking if we do HPA film.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to check that, so I checked his profile. No, not that guy.
Yeah. Okay.
That dude was still dope, though.
Yeah, man. Unfortunately, humans come in all makes and models, and some of us need to work on it. I mean, I'm overweight, my knees hurt. I still got to work on some shit. But everybody's at a different starting point, and again, the whole point of this is to make the starting point of everybody just a notch higher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're not trying to run a boot camp or.
I mean, this is a feeder system.
It's it.
Yeah.
So, yes, I agree. To some extent, yes, I agree. But I saw people moving. I saw people doing stuff. And especially with seeing the other side today, one or two of the squads that I was like, what the heck are they doing up there for so long? Like, I understand.
Sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Or do you know what?
Taking selfies on the podcast?
I got to do one of those too.
Well, it's like, you guys still podcasting?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The game run through was long, but I enjoyed it.
It was long because we had this in front of us. We kept stopping.
I know. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
fine though.
So
Like I said, by like the fourth time we do this, we're going to have it rock solid.
Well, I feel like that. So I almost feel like we should post the raw map data separately.
Like on Instagram?
Yeah.
run it at 8 speed.
Long form. Yeah. Like run it.
Yeah, well, keep it horizontal, so the way it's ran. But like, are you talking about like posting it on Instagram, or
Yeah, just the raw data that's like boom, so that people want to look at it or follow along.
And I'll explain in the post how to view it if you were there, because you can't use the Aries Alpha app. You have to go to the Aries Alpha website, sign in, which you can still do on your phone, because I was following along with you guys on the phone.
Yeah.
And then you can go to your past games.
Well, I'm talking about posting long form on YouTube.
Oh yeah, we could do that too.
Yeah, just speed it up to 8 times or whatever, and that's it. Like,
There's 8 and 16. I think 16 is a little too heavy, but
yeah, we do 8.
Yeah, because then they could just pause it and see it.
Correct. But anyway, do we have anything else? This is a long one.
It is a 3-hour one.
This is a long guy.
Dylan, you said like 4 words.
I was gonna say, well, for the lock boxes, how could I make those more enticing besides just folders? Or
It's getting the information. I'm a little concerned about the duration of the EMP.
It's 10 minutes.
That's a long time.
that is, yeah.
In the scheme of 4 hours, it's not. But I mean, that might cause irreparable damage to a team's cohesion. So maybe it needs to be really hard to get. Maybe you don't change anything, because both of us, I never even saw an envelope. My team never brought me an envelope.
Yeah.
I had 2.
Oh shit. You were close.
Yeah.
But it took you 4 hours to do that.
No, I had the first 2 within like
No shit.
35 minutes.
So
Okay, so make it harder.
Straight up, put a snack in the box. Put a bag of Takis.
So
in
I had
there
an
or
idea.
something.
I had an idea for a prop, and it would include getting the piece out of that lockbox to actuate another. So
I
you
don't
start
know.
another prop.
If I knew there was a snack in the box, I'd be like, "Hey, Sergeant, can I go get that objective?"
I don't know. It's almost like thermals, right? I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off. It's almost like thermals. I don't think thermals adds anything positive to the game. To the individual user, for sure.
Yep.
But not to the game. I did a whole game with thermals one time, and I hated it. It sucked. I had too much information. Whereas with the EMP,
You
I
almost
don't
get
know.
enough.
I don't know that it's going to add to the event as a whole. It will greatly affect one team's ability and greatly damage another team's
Can you,
if you
If
could
you're
make
relying on the app,
can you make it a shorter duration?
No.
10 minutes.
like
is the
2
minimum?
minutes, like 2 minutes would be, in my opinion, appropriate.
See if Aries Alpha might
Hold
change.
on.
No,
let's hear it.
no,
We've
no.
been cutting them off this
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
time. Go ahead.
I would have a 10-minute EMP would have allowed me so much.
Yeah.
Like in the current situation. Now think about it like this. 10 minutes is the duration of a timer.
Yeah. Yes. You're right.
Okay. So in that regard, a well-used EMP
Could turn the tide.
covers,
could cover 2.
yeah, it could it cover 2?
It'd be
5 and 5.
5 and 5.
Okay.
If you really want
So
to.
especially if we're going to have live tracking for the objectives.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm thinking everything put together. A 10-minute EMP could provide you a pivotal moment to where you can cap something
Yeah.
and not allow you to
maneuver.
immediately maneuver and
Yeah.
react.
And realistically, I'm trying to think like, what would I do if you EMP'd me? I would literally tell all units to hold what you got.
Hold
Yep.
in place.
Hold what you got and let me know where the attack is happening.
Right.
Which you
We
can't
should
do.
we should really try it out.
Which you can't do that if
I'm not saying
nobody's
let it
on
happen.
comms.
Hey,
Right.
hey, I was very lucky. All my squad leaders are very responsive. So shout out to my squad leaders. They did a fantastic job. But still, I'd be blind. So
Right.
I would have to remember, because I'm not going to know when the EMP is going to happen. So I'm going to have to remember, hey, what was that squad's name? I was constantly hovering over squads and being
Yeah.
like, hey, Reaper squad or whatever.
That's why I went first, second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever. And it's also
put it
why
out on the net.
and it's also why I brought the backup map, because I figured if there was an EMP, I still wanted to be able to say,
Yeah.
hey, go here, go here, go here.
So, all right.
It would not have hampered me as much as it sounds like it would have hampered you.
Yeah. So
But I'm also
I'm a bad commander, brother.
I don't think so. I think you're pretty good. I think you're all right.
I'm a fantastic squad leader.
Yeah.
I'll stand behind that. At the tactical level, I'm fairly solid. At the strategic level, I am horseshit.
This commander made it to that commander's CP.
Right. Because he was being a squad leader at the moment.
And at that point, a fire team leader, really.
Yeah.
But yeah,
If
so
that- you were like the second of a buddy team.
yeah, dude. But no, okay, you flipped me, and to be realistic, we don't know how it would have worked out because
Right.
it never got to that point. It never happened. So we should just keep it in the game until we see how it works. Now,
Beta test the next one. Just give us one at the beginning, so that way they are guaranteed to be
That
used.
was on the
think
table
it-
for this one.
I
Yeah.
feel like we should still work for it. I feel like they should be. I feel like an EMP is far more valuable than a UAV.
Well,
Right.
Only because we had like a 50-foot circle around
Yeah,
us.
for the next one, it should.
like
To
if
the
you
point
take,
where we think it's an accident.
yeah, like I pop it, and not only can I shoot I could shoot twice as far as what I could see from the center of it.
Yeah, that's why for the next one it'll be 500.
That's what I'm saying. So now you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
500-foot
Sure.
UAV. At that point, an EMP. I think
also counter that, yeah.
yes. I think a 500-foot or 500
meters.
meter
Yeah.
UAV
Huge. That's
UAV is far more detrimental and advantageous than an EMP is.
See, I think the EMP has a psychological advantage that when we're talking about trying to keep players on the field and
So-
keep them using the app.
So
like-
hear me out. How many times did you and I both look at this and be like, "Oh man, you were here, and if you were here, then I could have done this."
Sure.
Now imagine in game being able to see that, but only one side.
but don't
Sure.
forget that like half the players are probably not on the app to begin with.
No, but we are, and so we
Right.
have the radio communication,
Yeah.
so we can respond to that. I don't know. We just have to let it happen and see what happens.
2 folders next time. 2.
One folder. No, I think we should still have to work to get to them because, in my opinion, they're very powerful.
I think the format would affect how game
We have to
breaking
take bolt cutters to cut something in order to get it.
I'm not.
Well, no,
I'm not
I was
opposed to
just
that.
thinking. So
That would
it-
be-
You could have an engineer. Now we have an extra role. Now we have another role to fill.
Yeah.
There are dudes
There's
that had
ideas.
bolt cutters on them.
I know.
You know, it's a thing.
Yeah.
Then you have to
The
buy,
list goes
then you have
on.
to buy a chain that represents cost.
Yeah. Well,
Each
it's
game
true.
you're gonna do.
Just get a plastic chain from Home Depot. It's like what, 50 cents a foot.
He's not wrong. Yeah, but then it's easy to cut.
Yeah, but
I want you to struggle.
okay.
There's ideas.
Yeah, there's ideas.
Don't worry.
Let's just build the chain link fences.
So the amount of struggle is proportionate to the cost. So just bear that in mind.
Yeah, you're right. I got a bunch of chain behind the Connex box, the ones that we use to lift the Connex boxes.
Fuck no.
Good luck with your bolt cutters, buddy.
Yeah, right.
Somebody's gonna be out there with like a welder.
I got a battery powered grinder.
Yeah, someone brings a Dremel.
It'll be that scene from Aliens where they're trying to weld and cut through the
Yeah,
doors.
dude. I got a ton of experience cutting through 1/8 inch metal there. I could probably figure it out.
No, thank you. No.
Yeah.
We have any breaching charges?
Yeah, right.
Fuck no.
But anyway, I don't have anything more. Good job to all the players that came out and tried it, especially the guys that stayed till the end. You guys are champions. Thanks to everybody that used the app. It was fantastic, and I'm pretty sure everybody had a good time with it.
No one complained about the app.
No, the app is easy. It's just easy. I think it was a success.
It was a good time.
I just want to congratulate Dave for taking a win. All you red players, red. See, I just did it because of the NATO coloring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you were right.
No, you were right.
You were
Oh, I was
You were
right. Okay.
Yeah, you were right.
Yeah. So
Now you're
see,
just gaslighting yourself.
I'm gaslighting myself. To the red players out there, you stuck through it. You got the job done. So I want to throw out a lot of props to you guys and to the blue guys who stayed and did their thing. Thank you very much to the guys that may have cashed out. Better, just do better next time. And the guy who busted his cheek open on his optic before the game even started, man. Hope everything's going good, and we'll see you at the next one.
Good thing we had Angel.
Dude, he bent the top rail. That's how hard he hit it.
I'm shocked. How do you do that?
He smashed his
the
face
top,
on it.
Iron Jaw.
Yeah.
seriously, the optic was cantilevered at like at least a 15 degree.
Oh yeah. No.
He
I
pulled-
bet you that guy would have been the difference between you winning or losing.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, he was on second squad, right? So
That dude was hard.
yeah, he was.
All right. Anyway, with that, anything else?
Next Milsim Day,
Next Milsim Day, the dates are
July 26th.
July 26th. So, start hydrating now.
Bully Grimner.
Bully Grimnir.
Milsim Days of PSYOP. Compliance will be rewarded.
There you go.
Oh my God.
And with that, good night. God bless. We're out.